you tell somebody this information, what you've done is their brain, their mind is the ground. And when you tell them that information, you basically break up that ground through their ears. That's the entrance in. When you want to plant something into the ground, you gotta dig. You use the what? The plow. And what does the plow do? The plow breaks up the earth so you can have furrows. And then you can plant the seeds in there and then you close it back up. Well, the furrows for the human mind are the ears, because that's how the words get into your head, through your ears. So when you speak this word onto somebody, you're planting it into their mind. Okay. And as it says, Apollos watered, which when you first hear this truth, you first hear it, but then if you believe, if your hearing is mixed with faith, you then need to be nurtured so that the information that was planted in your mind can grow. All right. And then the Most High will give you that increase, just like you plant into the earth. But the point that we wanted to get with that was going back to Isaiah 55. You got anything, brother? You can bring it out to us. I got a quick one. All right, go ahead.
Sirach 24:30. I also came out as a brook from a river, and as a conduit into a garden. I said, I will water my best garden, and will water abundantly my garden bed. And lo, my brook became a river, and my river became a sea. I will yet make doctrine to shine as the morning, and will send forth her light afar off. I will yet pour out doctrine as prophecy, and leave it to all ages forever. Behold, that I have not labored for myself only, but for all them that seek wisdom.
There you go. It's a beautiful precept right there. So if we are likened onto the plants, then this doctrine is likened onto the water. That's why the scriptures liken the truth onto what? Living waters. And the Lord did say he has planted us as a pleasant vine, a pleasant tree, an olive tree, you know. So the doctrine is the what? The water. And that water is what we need in order to grow. All right. Go back to Isaiah.
Isaiah 55:10. For as the rain cometh down, and the snow from heaven, and returneth not thither, but watereth the earth,
right,
and maketh it bring forth and bud,
and that's the increase. Go ahead.
That it may give seed to the sower, and bread to the eater.
Right.
So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void.
So now, where are the words of the Lord that went out of his mouth? Real quick, brother, can you get Psalm 68:17 or 68:11? Salakia. Where are the words that came out of the Lord's mouth? And also, real quick, hold this, but jump to Jeremiah 31. Got it?
Psalm 68:11. The Lord gave the word. Great was the company of those that published it.
That published it, right? They made it public. So when the Lord gave the word, what happened? You had books, you had parchment, you had tablets that they would record the word of the Lord. Get that in Jeremiah?
This is Jeremiah 30:1. The word that came to Jeremiah from the Lord, saying, thus speaketh the Lord God of Israel, saying, write thee all the words that I have spoken unto thee in a book.
There you go. Right? Write all the words that I've spoken unto thee in a book. And it's going to be what? A record that we could refer back to, pursuant to Romans 15:4. Okay? We go back to Isaiah.
Isaiah 55:10. For as the rain cometh down, and the snow from heaven, and returneth not thither, but watereth the earth, and maketh it bring forth and bud, that it may give seed to the sower, and bread to the eater. So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it.
And that's prophecy, right? So just like rain falls and it has a job to do, when the Lord sends his word out, that has a job to do. And that word is not, you ain't gonna water a plant and then the effects that it's supposed to have don't really happen. Once water gets in the soil, something happens. And it's always gonna happen whenever you put water in the soil. So once the word of the Lord goes out, something happens, and it's always gonna happen, which is the prophecy. You say it before, and then when we hit that time, Habakkuk the 2nd chapter and the 3rd verse, those words come to pass. Those prophecies get fulfilled. All right. So yeah, that was it on that. Let's go back to 2nd Ezra 15. Because we started off with prophecy, right? We dug a little bit into prophecy. And right now, prophecy is the hot topic. You want to know why we're so calm? Because all these things happening are not new to us. We didn't jump into the future, but then again, we kind of did through the scriptures. Because what's written in here was documentations of the future. Because that's what the prophets saw. You could think of these prophecies in the book as if, let's say this brother jumped into the future with a journal and took notes of what he saw. And then came back in the past and brought that journal to us and said, here you go. This is what's going to happen. When I went to the future, this is what I saw. So take heed to that. So now we reading that and we seeing, okay, brother said, he said President Harris. We're going with President Harris. What you mean President Harris? But right now Biden's in power. So that's going to tell us that at some point, something's going to happen to Biden where Kamala's going to become president. So now we're going to expect that to happen. So when it happens, we weren't there in the future, but it's not a surprise to us because we knew already. So that's why prophecy is so important.
And if I may say, as we get closer and closer to the times, things become so much more clear in the scriptures.
Right. Quick free.
Hosea 12:10. I have also spoken by the prophets, and I have multiplied visions and used similitudes by the ministry of the prophets.
There you go. I have also what? Spoken by the prophets. So people are sitting here waiting for the Most High to come down and speak to them, to get like some megaphone or something like that and talk to them, like a concert in the heavens. But the Most High ain't going to do that. He's already set up an order, which is through his prophets, right? So, Babakasha, go read that again.
Hosea 12:10. I have also spoken by the prophets, and I have multiplied visions and used similitudes.
Right. So you look up the word, no matter of fact, I look it up myself. Look up the word similitude. Now, he's multiplied what? Visions. Because in most cases, that's how the Most High spoke to the prophets, through visions. Now, we got similitude. It says here, the quality or state of being similar to something, resemblance, likeness, parallelism, equivalence. Go ahead. There you go.
Okay, yeah. Hosea 12:10, I'll read it again. I have also spoken by the prophets, and I have multiplied visions and used similitudes by the ministry of the prophets.
By the ministry of the prophets. So ultimately, that's why you may go into the scriptures and you'll see Jeremiah says something, but in Isaiah says something very similar. But in Ezekiel also says something very similar because the Lord, he may have them see the same thing, just a different representation. Like Daniel. Daniel saw the statue, right, with the head of gold all the way down to the feet. But then he also saw the beasts, and they represent the same thing, but he saw them differently. Now in Daniel 7, Daniel saw the Medo-Persian Empire as a bear that raised itself up on one side with 3 ribs in its mouth. But then when you read in Daniel 8, that same Medo-Persian Empire is shown to Daniel, but in this form as a ram with 2 horns, where one horn came up first and the other one came up last. See? So it's the same, it's talking about the same thing, but the Most High is very repetitive. So he might show you a vision in different ways. Right? In Daniel 7, the Roman Empire is spoken of or described as a beast with iron teeth, And then when you go into 2nd Ezra 11, the same Roman Empire is spoken about, but is referred to as an eagle. All right? And then in Revelation, the 13th chapter, is spoken as a beast. So it's the same thing. But you got to know how, when it's talking about what. And that's why you got to know precepts and you got to use context with the scriptures. That was it on that? Yeah, that was it. Okay. Let's go back.
2nd Ezra chapter 15 and 1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord.
So we know what prophecy is, right? Which is to say before the things we're speaking into the ears of our people, which are the children of Israel, the Israelites, predominantly you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, although you got Israelites that are scattered around the world. So you may have people in India, people in Sri Lanka, people in China, people in Asia Minor, people in Europe that may look like the people of that land, but they're really Israelites. And we're supposed to speak to them, the what? Into their ears, the words of prophecy, which are to tell them what the future is. Because really, by telling you the future, we're warning you. And if you see that the future that's coming is something that you don't want to get caught up in, then you repent and you take heed. Go ahead.
And cause them to be written in paper.
Cause them to be written in paper. That's why we have them here today.
For they are faithful and true.
That's right. Now pause on that real quick. Let's get the book of Revelation, the 5th chapter. It's like it, the 21st chapter, and I think the 5th verse. Because he said what? Because they are faithful and true, right?
Revelation 21:5. And he that sat upon the throne said, Behold, I make all things new. And he said unto me, Write, for these words are true and faithful.
There you go. For these words are true and faithful. So we know, we believe the words in the scriptures. We know what's going to happen. We're not second guessing. We're not doubting in our minds. There's only one direction the world is headed in, and that's according to the direction of the Bible, according to the direction of the scriptures, according to the direction of what? Prophecy. The world is singing or dancing to the tune of prophecy. So as the prophets, we know it's our job to know prophecy. It's our job to understand the prophecies of these scriptures, because how are we supposed to speak the prophecies onto Israel if we don't know the prophecy? Yep.
Second Ezra 15:3.
So because the Second Ezra is a very important book, and I see why they took it out of the canon, right? The canonical Bible, because the book of Maccabees, because it covers a lot of history and information and prophecy. A big portion of prophecy, especially of Jacob's trouble, is in Second Ezra 15, Second Ezra 16, and Second Ezra 13, and other scriptures. You know, because Ezra, look, man, Ezra, the Lord gave him a great portion. You know, a great deal. The Lord showed him what was going to happen in this time. The Lord showed him the elect being crowned by Yahushua. The Lord showed him Yahushua's return. The Lord showed him the Roman Empire, the nuclear missiles. You know, the Lord had the angel explain to him, you know, basically why the things are the way they are and how we're going to get out of them. Ezra, there was a lot of things that was revealed to Ezra. So it makes sense why they took that book out.
We'll say he was marvelous before his eyes.
Yeah, that's it. Yep. And but you know what? Because Ezra has set his heart to learn the ways of the Lord. He was chaste. You know, he was in the spirit, willing and eager to commit to the Lord. And the Lord rewarded that with these revelations.
Right, and Revelation also holds in the book, in the New Testament, in the King James Version, the description of our Savior. So if this is a white man book, why did they name him the most important person on the planet Earth, which is Yahweh, the true description of it? Why would they give him a description of being of color like us?
Right.
Like grass.
Right.
So, you know, I need to get with it.
See, the Most High had it to where not everything in detail was kept, but not everything was taken out. So you had just enough where if you mix it with faith, you'll get the full picture.
Right.
But if you don't, you ain't gonna get anything at all. You'll get the facts of the scriptures, but the spiritual parts of it, the missing pieces. See, right now the book we have is a puzzle with missing pieces. But really, if you have the spirit, you can see the missing pieces that are there. But if you don't have the spirit, you just have a puzzle with missing pieces. And you can only speculate on what this could be or what this could be. That's why these scholars, when they go into prophecy, they'll say, oh no, this is really talking about ancient Babylon, because they don't have the missing pieces. Right?
Second Ezra 15:3. Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee.
Right, their disbelief, their hard-headedness. The Lord said, make your foreheads hard against theirs. So we're not gonna back down just because you come and talking shit. All right, cool. You want to scoff, you want to say what you want to say, go ahead. You do that. But what does it say in Romans 3 and 3? Matter of fact, you check that real quick, brother. Romans 3 and 3. What's gonna happen just because you don't believe the words we're telling you? You know, we're not here to force you to believe what we're saying.
Romans 3 and 3.
Yep.
Says Romans chapter 3, verse 3. But what if some did not believe?
Right. So what if people didn't believe the word that we're telling them concerning the scriptures? Go ahead.
Shall their unbelief make the faith of God without effect?
So just because you don't believe, does that mean everything that we have faith in that the Most High is going to do, that's not going to happen? No. I'm going to tell you that.
Right. No. It says chapter verse 4. God forbid. Yeah. Let God be true, but every man a liar. As it is written, that thou mightest be justified in thy saying, and mightest overcome when thou art judged.
There you go. So just because you don't believe, does that mean that the things we're telling you are not going to happen? No. God forbid. It's still going to happen. You're just going to get caught up in it. That's why the Lord said, fear not the imaginations against thee. Don't let their incredulity bother you, because they're just going to be destroyed anyways.
Right. You got people who buck up against us, scoffers, who sound very prophetic, prolific, and they sound like scholars, but they get cut. And what happens is,
I guess we're stopping there.
but you got these scholars that sound very professional on what they're saying, but when they get cut, they flee like the wicked, but no man pursue them. So they might have words that sound like they're saying, but they never come to the word directly, coming out the words of the Lord's mouth. You know, they can say what they want, but when the time comes, the word is going to overcome them, like the scripture just said. Right? The last verse of that says, mighty is overcome when thou art judged. All right? So the mighty going to our word down.
Mighty. Meaning that you're going to be able to overcome.
Right.
Right.
Psalms 14 and 1. The fool have said in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt. They have done abominable works. There is none that doeth good. The fool has said in his heart, there's no power. They don't believe that there's a power that made heaven and earth. You know, here it is, all of the miraculous things we see around us, the giant ball of fire in the sky they call the sun, the moon, the stars, the fact that, like we was going into earlier, the seed that gets planted, that's a miracle in and of itself, something so small, like a zucchini seed. And then this giant plant with big leaves comes out in a short amount of time, it all happens. So all those things are evidence of a power that made it. But these foolish people, they don't believe that there is a power. So when that time comes, like the scriptures say, call upon the gods, Judges, the 10th chapter, call upon the gods which you have chosen, you know, but don't call upon Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, he's not going to answer you, right? If you didn't seek him while he may be found.
Hey, you know, and it's crazy because when you look at a seed, you know, growth itself is something that you always got to think about. Like something so small by itself just increases in size over time, and then after it hits a certain point, it starts to shrink by itself, like the human body.
Right.
You know, how do you go from a newborn baby is definitely probably like this small,
maybe 19 inches.
yeah, if that, and over time, just naturally, they start getting bigger. Their head gets bigger, their hair grows, their hands get bigger. How do you go from the hands that fit in your palm to now, you know, these giant hands just like that? And then you get to a certain point where you start to shrink again when you get super old, because the Lord, and that's all within seed. This tiny seed that you put into a woman was able to grow by itself and become to this level and then start to shrink back down again. So the Most High is behind it all. This is something that you can't explain, you know, and it shows you that you yourself are a testament to the Most High existing. So, because you don't even know how the human body was made. All these things that are inside you, your heart, you know, your organs, they all need to function at the same time for you to be alive. So now you gotta ask yourself. I saw a video of this. They were asking this atheist, basically, if the Most High doesn't exist, right? How do you create a human being? Oh, well, when you really that's a this question is that question. Okay,
They knew it was stepping their down. It's their street actually, but they knew it was something spiritual going on over there. They chose to just
you got the angels around. But the question is, he asked them, right? He said, okay, so if you want to make a human being, you start with the heart, or do you start with the lungs, or do you start with what do you start with? Because all of them need to be functioning at the same time in order for the person to be alive. You can't say I'm gonna give you a heart and then wait a minute, let me create the organs and then I'm gonna plug them in for you. That's not gonna work. So what do you do first, and how do you put it all together? What is a heart made of? How do you make it? How do you make that? What do you make a heart from? Because the heart that you see right now started as sperm that's put into an egg. Where does the heart, the substance for a heart, come from? It just grows inside of the body, right? From this tiny little sperm. So you this things like this alone, the bones. Where does bone? If you don't have a bone to examine, where does the bone come from that grows inside of a baby in the mother's womb? The sperm is liquid. So how does a bone that's solid come out of all of this? People don't think about that. But they're so quick. Like that's why it says the fool have said in his heart there is no power. Because you'd have to be a fool to actually sit there and say, of all the things in existence, ain't no most high. Two particles collided, and this is how we had all this here.
man, that big bang theory needs to go right to the damn garbage bin, man. Recycling bin, man. It's treats, it's trash.
It's a
If you
theory.
think that two non adamant what they call things that doesn't have life.
Inanimate?
Inanimate. Two inanimate objects collide and cause life
Right.
doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
Y'all scientists, y'all the ones that verse is talking about.
But
He
see, you know
there is
what?
no God.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And you know what? Somebody got to explain when the two particles collided, right? Two whatever size particles collided, did human beings just pop up? You know what I mean? Like boom! Like where did we pop up on? And what are the chances that we popped up on the planet Earth? Why didn't we pop up in space and then the Earth is over here? And what are the chances that gravity was formed? Now gravity is on certain parts. Certain planets don't have gravity. So these particles are so intricately put together that when they hit each other, you had all this, and then humans just knew how to speak English and different languages. They knew that in order to reproduce, a man got to lay with a woman. Nobody told them nothing. And then, so how do you explain the law, statutes, and commandments? How do you explain all of these things? The particle came to Adam, gave him the commandment. I'm the particle. It's ridiculous.
I may say y'all system is governed over laws. Like this today's system, every
Right.
country has laws. Right now, law in Russia, you can't bring vape, marijuana pens or nothing. Ain't the chick, the basketball chick going to jail right now.
Oh, yeah.
All right, everything got laws. So where the laws come from?
Right.
Where the laws of physics come from?
Yep.
All right.
Even something like a lunar eclipse, you know that the type of it's supposedly random for it to align and perfectly cover the sun at that distance.
Right.
There's no way that could possibly be random.
Right.
For the moon to cover the sun and perfectly encircle it where it just covers the sun, where you see like the light of the sun right before the eclipse happens, the light. I forget what they call it. But basically, they're both. Yeah, exactly. Lunar and solar eclipses is another example of the existence of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. They can't possibly just have randomly happen. Even certain scientists know that, but they still can't wrap their mind around it because it wasn't given unto them to believe in Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai.
Yeah, you got to think about it, right? When you put two things together and they make something else, whatever the product is has to be related to those two things. So for example, if you merge two human beings together, you ain't gonna get glass because glass is not in us. Whatever you're gonna get has to be something that's from us. You know, you put this and this together, you put two colors together, you're not gonna get an apple. You're gonna get a different color, right? So if you got two particles that come together, unless each particle contained every substance that's here on the planet, on all of existence, when you put them together, there's no way you can have all of this, you know. But yeah, let's go back to second Ezra.
A quick one.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll finish that point off. Second Maccabees 7:22. I cannot tell how you came into my womb, for I neither gave you breath nor life, neither was it I that formed the members of every one of you. But doubtless the creator of the world, who formed the generation of man and found out the beginning of all things, will also of his own mercy give you breath and life again, as ye now regard not your own selves for his law's sake.
There you go. And that was the mother of those 7 brothers that were put to death so gruesomely. So she knew, and she said, "What? Doubtless," meaning that this is common knowledge, like that the Most High did this. She's the one who bared them. She said, "I don't know how all of that happened in my womb. You know, this had to have been the Most High's doing, and he's gonna bring you back again, give you life again. And if these devils know so much, how come you can't give life? You can only take it. You know." Got it, bro.
This is 2 Ezra chapter 15:4. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness.
Right. All the unfaithful are going to die in their unfaithfulness. Why? Real quick, Shalom, you can get me 2 Ezra chapter 9, verse 7. And that's going to explain why the unfaithful are going to die in their unfaithfulness. It's like saying that there's a line coming, and everybody that doesn't know how to run is going to die. Well, yeah, that's true. Why? Because they're not going to be able to run fast. So the unfaithful are going to die. Why? Because they're not going to have faith, and we're going to see what does faith do for you. Yeah, 97.
2 Ezra chapter 9, verse 7. And everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works, and by faith, whereby ye have believed, shall be preserved from the said perils.
Right. So the people that are going to be saved is going to be through what? Faith, right? They're going to perform works through faith. If you're unfaithful, you're not going to take the route of faith. You're not going to do the things that you're supposed to do to get you saved. So that's why the unfaithful are going to die in their unfaithfulness. Those people in the world right now, they're unfaithful. And so they're doing the things that the unfaithful would do. We, Lord willing, are faithful, so we're doing the things that the faithful would do. No, you good on that. You go ahead.
2 Ezra 15:5. Behold, save the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction.
So the Lord said he's going to bring plagues upon the world. That's not just America. That's not just the UK. That's the whole planet. And what were some of the things he listed?
The sword, famine, death, and destruction.
Right? So you got your box? All right. All right, so you good. Well, sure, you can get me 2 Ezra 16 and 22. I think it's 16:20, either 16:22 or 16:24. Because the Lord would mention what? Famine, right? So when we hear about these food shortages happening, what should we be thinking about? The prophecies concerning famine. Because that's what the Lord, see, a couple years ago, they weren't talking about food problems like they are now, right? But the scriptures are always talked about famine. So knowing that, we were expecting that at some point there was going to be an issue with the food. So now that it's happening, what are we referring back to? The scriptures, the source.
Yeah, 2 Ezra chapter 16, verse 22. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that shall escape the hunger.
Now hold on a second. Many of them that dwell where?
For many of them that dwell upon the earth.
Right. So now read this part again.
2 Ezra 15:5. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world.
Upon the world, right? And the world in the oikoumene sense. Okay? So many of them that dwell upon the earth, they're going to perish of famine, right? Well, what are the plagues the Lord said he's going to bring upon the world?
The sword, famine, death, and destruction.
Go ahead.
I'll read again. 2 Ezra chapter 16, verse 22. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine.
Why does it say that? Because he saw it. He saw it. I mean, it's pretty clear when you see somebody starving because they got no food to eat. You know, so it doesn't matter if you know what language they're speaking or not. You're gonna go, no, he's hungry. Look at his damn ribcage. Look at all that. You know. So Ezra saw these things happening, and for him to say many, the Lord had to assure them a large number of people who are dying in different parts of the world because they didn't have access to food. Go ahead.
Continuing, and the other that shall escape the hunger shall the sword destroy.
So then he saw you had some people that weren't dying of hunger, but they were dying by getting shot, you know, by getting stabbed, getting their head bashed in with a baseball bat with spikes on the end while they're chained to a moving car that's going into a fiery burning building that's dissolving in earth. I'll just play around.
That's happening right now.
Hey, hey.
Dude with a car chase, he got hit with 90 bullets.
Yeah.
Just now.
Yep.
So that's destruction. I mean, that's the sword. Okay. And hey, the famine is coming too because food shortages is here.
Yep. And the farmers are warning. But so Ezra sees you got some people that are dying of starvation, but this guy ain't dying of starvation. Clearly, he got something to eat, but he's dying another way. You know? So there's no escape, right? Those that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. Because what was one of the plagues the Lord said? The sword and famine and death and destruction. Okay? So what does that link up with? Okay, give me Revelation chapter 6, verse 4. Start at 4.
Revelation chapter 6, verse 4. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him.
Jump down to verse 6.
Right? This is Revelation chapter 6, verse 6.
Nope, verse 8. Yep.
Okay. Revelation 6 and 8. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse. His name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him.
Right, death and hell, right? Now, hell, hey, Shalom, man. I don't know who, I don't know. I don't know who that is, but they know, they must know.
Fresh direct.
They fresh direct, yeah. Hey, you know, but that's why the Lord said, what? Speak thou into the ears of my people the words of prophecy. So people know, yo, a lot of these people you walk around that, you know, they do their regular jobs, they know. Just like when you go to work, you don't have a garment on. So if somebody doesn't recognize your face, they don't know who you are, but you know what's going on. So there's others that are around that you may be in your neighborhood, and you may be thinking that these people are through, but there may be 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 people in there that know what's going on. You know? But
Yo, that testimony I gave 2 weeks ago, the brother, he was saying, yo, man, I see you all the time, but yo, I'm getting fake right now. And I'm becoming Israelite. And I'm like, how do you know I was an Israelite? Yeah, with that on that order, I didn't really feel that, but I was just like, hey, come, brother. I hope you stay in the spirit and keep it going with that. But I never told him I was an Israelite, bro. So that brother that see us right now, he know we probably Israelite. Yeah. So I give no praise.
Yep. Beautiful work. But like we read that part again in Revelation.
Right. The last verse it reads, and with hunger and with death.
Now I'll start again from verse
8.
Yeah, 8.
All right, from the top. Revelation 6 and 8. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death.
And that's going to be during the time of Jacob's trouble. Okay, go ahead.
And hell followed with him.
So there was death, and hell followed with him, right? Because what is hell? When you go into the scriptures, hell's not a place that you go and burn forever. Hell in the scriptures is in the Hebrew is sha'awal, which is the grave, or hell can represent a condition. So when there was death, of course, hell would follow, because when you die, where do you go? You go, your body goes into the grave, but your spirit goes to the spirit world. Okay, so that what John saw in Revelation 6, which is very interesting, because the Apostle John got a lot of the similar visions that the prophet Ezra got. You know.
Hey, and the FEMA caskets. How long ago they was building up millions of those?
Yep.
So they got a lot of people that they planning on killing right now, man.
Right. Yep.
Hell is the grave, and where you go when you go in the grave? A damn casket.
Yep.
They got makeshift caskets, like, portable caskets, about 1,000,000 loads, right?
Yep. You go.
All right. And power was given unto them over the four part of the earth,
Which is America.
right? To kill with the sword.
Now,
Kill with sword.
the sword, right? That was one of the plagues Ezra mentioned, right? So you know that the sword is going to play a major role in these times, right? In the time of Jacob's trouble, and the sword is mainly what? A gun. That's the modern day sword, is a gun. In the ancient world, when you went to war, you went with swords and spears. But this time, when you go to war, you go with guns. You know, ARs. Now they got the big guns with the missiles and the nukes and all of that.
Yeah. And all these mass shootings that's going on, that's according to the prophets.
Yep.
All right. People might look at that as a miraculous thing, and why is it, mass shootings going on? It was one on the 4th of July on down. I mean, before the beginning of this year, there's been mass shootings. So a lot of people gonna go, man, to the sword. Reading on, and with hunger,
And with hunger, right? What did Ezra say? He said the sword, famine, death, and destruction, right? And then over here we read the pale horse had what? It was death and hell followed, and then the sword and hunger.
and with death.
There you go. So what? Remember we read about the similitude, right? So what is the similitude that we're seeing here, right? The similarities between the different prophecies is when they talk about the time of Jacob's trouble, the sword is going to play a big role, famine is going to play a big role, and there's going to be a whole lot of death. Okay, a whole lot of death. That's the time where we live in.
And with the beasts of the earth.
And with the beasts of the earth, and they're going to bring more death. So you're going to have different ways the Lord is going, because he's a master director. So for the movie to be real interesting, you got to let out things that you got to do it like it has never been done before. And that's what the Lord is going to do. He's going to bring wild animals, teeth of new. The scriptures talk about dragons. There are dragons in the scriptures, right? Animals that cast out sparks. They breathe out sparks. So there's going to be some things that the Lord is going to let out that we ain't seen before. Heck, you might see a zombie. You might see an old lady turn her head 360 and climb on a building.
Nice.
And then turn around and look at you, and now you got to look up. You got to do something with yourself. You know what I'm saying? You might see somebody running, and there's like 5 Barbie dolls with knives in their hands chasing her ass. You're looking at an inanimate object. Here it is, you're sitting, and then you're the only one at home, but you see some shit moving, and you turn around and do that like in Toy Story. And the second you see them, they just act like they like, hold on a second, this shit was over here, now it's over here. Then the shit is gonna turn his head. So exactly. I gave that example. I said, look, I don't know. The Spirit been on me to give that example. Here it is, you sitting at the bus stop waiting, and this nigga jump out the little image on the bus stop poster. And he's holding the sword. And next thing you know, you know what I'm saying?
They
So
tried to depict that with the movie Ghostbusters. With things that you would least like the Stay Puft statue, the big giant white puffy dude, something that you think is harmless would be the destruction of y'all. He took the Statue of Liberty head off. He was doing everything. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is, with Esau messing with these dimensional things with like the CERN, you know what I mean? You don't know what dimensions you're opening up, and that's the Lord's will to bring beasts and creatures here that y'all can least expect. Or just the spirit of this torment.
yeah, Spirit's created for vengeance. So you got to think about it. That it? No. Okay. You got to think about it. If a spirit, right, is created for vengeance, then you gotta imagine with the Most High, with the mind He has, He's gonna make sure that all the attributes about this spirit are that for vengeance, right? So that means that it ain't coming with the mindset of peace or mercy. If the Lord creates a spirit that's set for vengeance, why would He give that spirit the ability to have compassion, to feel bad? Then that's a vulnerability. Then He can't carry out vengeance. To have a spirit of vengeance on you, you got to be straight up about vengeance the whole time. So even if the person is crying, begging for forgiveness, you're here and there's only one thing you're created to do, and you're going to do that. So there are certain spirits that the Lord has set that He puts on certain people when a certain job needs to be done. Like the lying spirit He put in the mouth of Ahab's prophets, right? So where are we at? Well, we finished Revelation 6. Quick one. Yeah, go ahead.
Amos 5:18. Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. To what end is it for you? The day of the Lord is darkness and not light.
And that's going to be quite literal in certain places.
As if a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him.
Right. So a man did flee from a lion and a and a bear met him. Now you gotta really put the details in here at this point, right? Because when you see a lion, you're not gonna turn around and run 2 miles an hour. You're gonna turn around and run as fast as you can. And a lot of people don't run often, so they don't have stamina. So if you're running from, you know what I'm saying, you're running from this lion full speed, and then you see what
bear?
Yep.
Yeah, it said, I'll read it again. As if a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him.
So a bear met him. When somebody meets you, you know, like, oh shit, I met this brother over here, right? Matter of fact, can we look up the word met? Listen. Oh, okay, the water. Look up the word met, because I don't think met is something that you really expecting, you know? Oh, I guess who I met today, you know? If you go to visit somebody, you ain't gonna tell them, guess who I met today? Well, you met who you went to visit, right? So it's not really a meet. You didn't really meet her. Exactly. You know? So when you get met, that's an unexpected encounter. So, you know, like some of these people today, they hear a sound going on in their kitchen, and then the wife tells the husband to go check it out. And he goes downstairs and he sees this big ass bear in his kitchen and shit, like some Goldilocks and a 3 bear type shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, them bears, sometimes they calm, sometimes they might run, but sometimes they might not. I'm tired of this shit. They gonna come here. What you got for that?
The Hebrew word is pagai. It says to encounter, meet, reach, entreat.
What?
Entreat, make intercession. It says others here to encounter, fall upon, of hostility.
Ooh.
To strike, to touch of boundary.
There you go. So when you flee from a lion and a bear met him, he didn't meet the bear. The bear met him. So that nigga was around the corner. All right.
Pull up on him real quick.
There's one more. Or a couple more. It says to make attack. It says the Strong's definition by accident or violence, by importunity, come betwixt, to cause, to entreat, fall upon. Yeah, that's about it.
So there you go. So when a man fled from a lion and a bear met him, that bear caught his ass off guard. So what did he do when the bear met him?
Or went into the house and leaned his hand on the wall, and a serpent bit him.
Okay, when you go to the house and when you lean on something, you're leaning on it for support. Now, given that he just ran from something, he was gonna be what? Tired. So he's leaning on the wall, and a serpent bit him. And what do we know about serpents? They're subtle. They're very, very low key. So he didn't get got by the obvious danger, or that the danger he just narrowly escaped, but the danger that he wasn't expecting.
That Hebrew word for that word, what was it again?
Met?
No, not met.
Lean?
Leaned his hand on the wall.
Yeah, lean. It's samak, and it says, like you said, to rest, support, put, uphold, lean upon. But the last one says to sustain, refresh, revive. So you call it like catch his breath.
Yep. And the Lord said, no, nigga, you ain't catching. You gonna catch this venom bite.
I was going to say that reminds me of the scripture, Isaiah 36:6. Thou trustest in that broken staff, that broken reed. You're leaning on it for protection, but it's a sharp, broken reed, and it pierces your hand. And that's likened unto trusting in Egypt, which our people love to trust in Egypt, Babylon, the great America. You leaning on something for protection and rest, but really that's going to be your death and your destruction.
Yep. And you know, it's spiritual that you said that, right? Because Esau's what? Serpent. Right. So he leaned his hand on the wall, and the serpent bit him. The one that he didn't expect. He thinking, oh shit, there's trouble here, I'm gonna run back to FEMA camp, and you get got. So of course it's not a literal lion and a literal bear and a literal serpent, but what is a lion, a bear, and a serpent? They can kill you. They represent danger, but in different forms. But guess what? The Lord might have you actually have that same exact literal situation. You know, you don't expect to see a bear in the city, but you might see Yogi Bear. This thing might come with a green hat. He's gonna come into the city. Because the Most High, he controls the animals. Like the story of the prophet who the Lord told him to go and prophesy to Jeroboam, but not to eat or drink anything in the land, and to come back another way. Don't come back the same way. And when he went, he got deceived by another prophet who told him, no, 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 no. The angel came to me and said, come, come, let's eat. And then he listened, he ate. And then the prophet said, listen, I got you, nigga. Because guess what? You disobeyed the Lord. You shouldn't listen to me. And so after he got deceived, the Most High killed him. The Most High had a lion come and kill him. Now, what's interesting is he was riding on an ass. The lion came, killed him, didn't touch the ass. And anybody that walked by, you saw an ass, a lion, and a carcass right there. Why? Because the Most High commanded the lion to come and kill him, but not to touch the ass. Because by nature, what's the lion going to do? He's going to tear that ass up, right? So, so in this case, the Most High commanded the lions. So you may think, nah. Hey, what are the chances? You might see this nigga Harambe come back from the dead. You know, he gonna come find the dude that shot him, and it's gonna be over. Yo, them gorillas, man. You ever seen a shaved gorilla? That shit is brolic as hell. Under all that fur, them shits, they got cuts. Yeah, they look like fucking Broly. You know? Yeah, man.
Like 304 pounds. Yeah. I was reading this with my brother not too long ago that gorillas have, when they're not angry, when they're in their natural state, they're 10 times as strong as humans. And their bite force is like 4,000 pounds. 4,000. So that's 4 tons.
Oh my God.
Their bite force is like, that's when they're not angry. That's when they're not.
Yeah, so when they get
they push you, your ribs are broken.
It's like a nigga.
Yeah. Let me see. Let me take a look at this. Yeah. Show it to the camera. Yeah, gorilla. Without his fur. So when that gorilla goes Super Saiyan and the fur disappears, you know he's serious. They go,
yo, man, I got a brother that I grew up with. His name is Monkey Man.
Monkey Man.
He looks just like a gorilla, but that motherfucker is strong as hell. Like smaller than all of us at this camp right now, but his strength, his whole mannerism is just like.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a lot of strength to swing on. You know, when they swing and jump on the trees and shit. You try that, you might slip and bust your ass. But yeah, like the brother was saying, the Lord's gonna put that spirit on these gorillas and these apes because they're tired of these people. I saw a video of a orangutan. You saw, but this I think it was a Moabite or some. He came to the cage trying to, I guess, do a TikTok or trying to get a video with the orangutan, and the orangutan got pissed off and grabbed the dude and pulled him in. And that shit, them orangutans are strong, man, because it took 2 people to try and pull and I mean, the orangutan is pulling this guy and picking him up through the bars. And the guy's like, he's trying to run away. No, he said, no, nigga. No, the other guy tried to help. He said, get the hell out of here, man. I'm coming for this thing. So animals are smart, especially monkeys, orangutans. They are intelligent. They know what they're doing. Man, I done seen a video of a monkey put on sunglasses, and he got a shake in his hand with a straw. This dude put the straw in, crossed his leg, he got the glasses on, and he's sipping on the joint. Not in the primitive state, he sip a little bit, then he look around, sip a little bit more. They know what they're doing.
Female raised the orangutan from baby to an adult. And when he got older, he bit her whole face off.
Wow, look at that.
What? She had to get a reconstruction. Her face never was back to normal. Like, no eyes, no nose, no mouth. Like, you might as well be dead.
Yeah.
But, you know, with today's technology, they preserved her. But the baby to an adult, like, you should have some type of loyalty there.
Yeah.
That motherfucker ate a whole face off.
But that's what she gets. You're trying to raise an orangutan as a baby. That's not its natural habitat.
Right.
You know? So we were in Amos, right?
Yep, the last person. Right. That's that Edomite bullshit.
Yeah.
Trying to raise a gorilla.
Yeah, they put it in diapers. You know what I'm saying? Put clothes on it. You see that shit? They put clothes on it. You know, look. I saw a video of this is actually kind of cool because it was like a little monkey, right? And the monkey, I think this is in like a country in the East where the lady got like green beans and she's like breaking it. So the monkey's squatting next to the pan and she picks it up, she breaks it. The monkey picks it up, he breaks it, puts it in there, picks it up, breaks it. Where it was actually helping her prepare the meal, you know. And there was another one too where sometimes they pop up and I watch them, right? And you had this monkey and a dog that was sent to the store to go buy something and come back. So the monkey jump on the back of the dog, and then they go to the store, and then the monkey gives the money to the person, the person gives them the stuff, and then they come back. Yeah. And then there was another one, the last one I promise, where the somebody went to deliver pizza. I don't know if y'all seen it, but he knocks on the door, right? And then the door opens, and it's a monkey with like some jeans on, some sneakers, and a shirt and shit. Monkey steps out, gives him the money. He takes it. He gives him the pizza. He takes it. He comes back inside. And I'm like, oh shit, yeah. So they animals are intelligent. You know.
You never know, John Jacob's trouble. Lord might have a monkey just go find fruit.
Oh, yeah, he did it with ravens. You know, monkey might lead you. You know, monkey see, monkey do. You know, but nah, go ahead. What you got?
That was there was one more verse. It says, Amos 5:20, shall not the day of Yahweh be darkness and not light, even very dark and no brightness in it.
Yep, no brightness in it. So just like it says also in which is going to be literal in a sense, because when Yahushua comes back, he's going to block out, because his chariot is going to be so huge, it's going to be dark. But you also going to have, like it says in 2 Ezra, the 5th chapter, men shall hope and nothing obtain. They're not going to have a sense of direction as to where to go, what's going on, or that light of hope. Go back 2 Ezra.
2 Ezra 15:6. For wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled.
Yeah, so the Lord had a measure of what when their wickedness hits this level, that's when I'm going to completely bring it down. So their hurtful works are fulfilled. That means what? Now is the time for the judgment, because judgment, in terms of destruction, judgment is measured by or limited by wickedness, right? The more wicked you are, the greater the judgment. The less wicked you are, the less the judgment is, right? So what the Lord did in essence is he took off the restraints of wickedness for our people so that he can take off the restraints of judgment. So that way, when these people do wickedness and wickedness on top of wickedness, guess what? There's judgment and judgment on top of judgment. That's why the Lord took out the fear of his fear from our people. So you got a lot of people doing whatever they want to do, but they don't take heed to the words of the Lord. Well, that's okay, because there's judgment that's piling up, getting ready to come for these people. Exactly. Yep. Go ahead.
Verse 7. Therefore saith the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more, as touching their wickedness.
So what has the Lord been doing this whole time? He's been holding his tongue, meaning the Lord is being long suffering. But he's not going when this thing goes down, that's the Lord saying, I'm not holding my tongue anymore. Right? Because as touching their wickedness. Keep going.
Which they profanely commit.
Which they profanely commit. So they're profanely committing wickedness, and Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua he's going to put an end to that. Through judgment, through pain, through suffering. The same must know it after death by pain. Go on.
Neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves.
Now, when you suffer something, right? You say like when Yahushua went to John the Baptist to get baptized, John the Baptist said, I'm not worthy to baptize you. But Yahushua said, suffer it to be so. So what? So that the will of the Most High can be accomplished. So when you suffer something, you bear with it, even though it might not be something you want to do, right? Suffer with me. But in the scripture says, suffer not a wish to live. So don't tolerate it. So the Lord said what? Read that part again.
Neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves.
So if the Lord wants to suffer them in those things, he would allow it to keep on going on. He would keep on tolerating. But he's not going to suffer it anymore, meaning now he's going to do something about it.
Yeah, I actually have the definition for suffering. It says in the archaic, it says tolerate. Tolerate.
There you go.
Well, one of the synonyms, put up with.
There you go. Perfect. Put up with it. So the Lord is not going to put up with this wickedness anymore that they profanely commit. And real quick, hold that and get Ecclesiastes 8 and 11. That Ecclesiastes 8 and 11 is an example of the Lord suffering their wickedness. But now we're hitting the point where he's going to put the brakes on that, and the scriptures say, let judgment run down as waters, right? So that's exactly what's getting ready to happen. Now 8 and 11. Yep.
Ecclesiastes 8 and 11. Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily.
So what is a sentence against an evil work? You ever heard the term death sentence, right? So a sentence is not a like what I'm saying to you, not in that sense, but a sentence is pretty much like a judgment that's been brought down, right? You've been sentenced to 20 years in jail. This is your judgment, right? So because sentence against an evil work, because the judgment that will come against you for committing evil, because what?
Therefore, the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil.
Right. So a sentence is pronouncing judgment. So because that judgment that's pronounced against evil works is not executed speedily, right? If you were to go and murder somebody and the cops just didn't come and do anything about it, they could be standing right there, nothing happened. What was going to happen to you? You don't think, oh, I did it right in front of a cop, he didn't do shit. And then you're going to find out later on somebody else pissed you off and you execute them as well, and the cops are right there and they don't do nothing. It's going to be fully set in your mind that nobody better piss me off because I'm going to kill your ass. Because I know ain't nothing's going to happen to me. Right? So read that verse, scripture again.
Ecclesiastes 8 and 11.
Mhm.
Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil.
Right. So people now can go and commit adultery and then brag about it without a problem. I took this man's woman, I slept with her 20 different ways when he was at work, because she knew how to twerk. I didn't have a problem with that. I gave her the work. People gonna sing about it, right? Because the second he did that, the community then grab him up and put him there and stone him to death, and her, right? So they're okay. He think that it's okay to brag about that because the judgment for it didn't come right down on her. But it's still gonna happen,
And places looked at as the dragon, because this is a place of abominations. Literally the beast that the arm is set upon, people don't realize it's the place of liberty to have free will of sinning to the utmost. Everything that's against the laws of the Lord is permissible.
That's it.
You're about to bring back the purge, like the lesson, I think the last lesson you did about the New York, the NYPD. They letting them off or they leaving because they seeing how crazy it's getting. But now on the worldly level, the sentence against the evil work will not be executed. Right. So that's going to lead to more wickedness in the street. And then the Lord is going to bring down the hammer even more.
Beautifully said. Yep. Like the brother mentioned, you have the woman that's sitting upon the beast, which the woman is America, but she's sitting on the beast because what? She has that control. She when you watch Game of Thrones, right? You had what's her name? Daenerys, right? She's sitting on the dragon, so wherever she controls the dragon to go, that's where it's gonna go, right? So when you sit, the rider is the one that controls the direction of the whole thing. So America sitting upon the beast is controlling it. So that's why all these other nations look at what goes on here. So when this place permits wickedness, guess what? They allow it. Other places look at it and think that's okay to do as well. That was it, right? No, you good on that.
This is Sirach chapter 5, verse 2. Follow not thine own mind and thy strength to walk in the ways of thy heart. And say not, who shall control me from my works? For the Lord will surely revenge thy pride.
Read that again?
Verse 3. Sirach chapter 5, verse 3. And say not, who shall control me from my works?
Say not, who shall control me from my works? Go on.
For the Lord will surely revenge thy pride. Say,
read up a verse about that.
Sorry. Sirach chapter 5, verse 2. Follow not thine own mind and thy strength.
So why does it say, follow not thine own mind and thy strength? Read that.
Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 4. And thou even thyself shall discontinue from
It's like
thine.
it. It's like it. 17 and I believe 9. That's it.
17, this is Jeremiah 17 and 9. And thy heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it?
Who can know it, right? Now this is where you got to have studying come into place, because when you in this world, they teach you that your heart is this right here, this organ right here inside of your chest. But when you read the scriptures and it says heart, you got to go into the Hebrew word over there and find out what is the actual word. Is it the actual organ, or is it talking about something else? And when you go into it in this verse, the word heart in the Hebrew word is lab, which means your mind. The word lab in Hebrew means mind. So it gets translated into English as heart, but really it's talking about your mind. So what Jeremiah is saying here is that the mind is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. So that's why, and who can know it? That's why it says here, read that again.
Sirach chapter 5, verse 2. Follow not thine own mind and thy strength.
Why? Why not? Because your mind is desperately wicked, it's deceitful above all things. Give you an example. Who can know it, right? The reason the Lord gave us law, statutes, and commandments is because that's what keeps you. For example, you got a car, right? And you got roads. Now on the roads, you got the lines for your lanes, right? So if you don't have lanes on a road, how is the car going in one direction gonna know that, all right, maybe I shouldn't go too much to the left because a car coming here might crash on me, right? So you got lanes to guide you so that you stay within bounds. Borders. Well, that's what the laws are. The laws are borders for your mind. Because if you don't have borders for your mind, you might end up going way, way to the right or way to the left. What's an example of that? Somebody comes up to you for no reason and they just punch the shit out you. And you might, in a rage, kill them. You might not mean to, but you're so angry, you just keep going. You need to now restrain yourself with the scriptures. Your mind, fueled by your emotions, will tell you, yo, hit this guy back, beat his ass, or whatever. But it may be the situation you're in is not a good idea, right? So your mind gets you stop. Oh, there's a scripture in Wisdom of Solomon that says, when you have wisdom, every thought, she meets you with every thought. Every thought you have gets met by wisdom, which is a very, very powerful thing. Because whatever thought you have, you can think of wisdom as like a vetting process of all your thoughts. So all your thoughts that you have go through this wisdom function, and then it comes out, it either gets rejected or it gets approved. So if you think of something and it's not wise to do, then it'll get rejected, because wisdom will say, hold on 1 second. What you want to do again? Yeah, but she's fine. She's fine, but she's another man's woman, right? All right, reject that thought. Now, if you think of something else, though, the brother's in need, I'm thinking maybe I just came into some money, let me help him out. No, you know what? That's a very good thing to do. Then it gets approved.
Wisdom of Solomon 6 and 16. For she goeth about seeking such as are worthy of her. Sheweth herself favorably unto them in the ways, and meeteth them in every thought.
Woo! Now, why does she seek those that are worthy of her? Because not everybody is going to accept wisdom's reproof. What's the point of having wisdom if you ain't going to take heed to wisdom? When she meets you at every thought, you say, I don't give a damn. I'm still going to do it anyway. Then why you're not worthy, right? But she meets them at every thought. So that's how a wise man moves with wisdom. Whatever thought he has gets filtered by wisdom before it becomes an action. Therefore, he has maximum wise actions and minimum foolish things, right?
Right, and if I may say, anybody move off of free will, y'all don't have no wisdom, right? Because y'all going off for every whim. When your mind, when the scriptures say, who knows it, okay, who can know it? When your mind is moving, you got thoughts in your head that out of discipline, you gotta take them, you gotta cast them aside.
Right.
Like when we out here, we might see a fat butt or a sexy woman, but we make sure we discipline and be like, no, this is our main agenda for being out here. Let that shit go. Don't even think about that. Or what about when you praying and thoughts come up in your mind? A strong prayer, a person that prays and practices in prayer, cast that thought away while they in the midst of prayer.
Right.
Well, just like with any thought, when you're in the spirit, that's why, I'm glad the brother name of this channel is stay in the spirit, because That is a hard thing to do. And you practicing and you training your mind to be more disciplined than trying to deal with letting your thoughts control you, your first instinct. And I learned that. I'm learning still. Don't just jot out or blurt out what your first thought is. Give it some thought. Okay.
That wisdom meets you at every thought. Beautiful point, beautifully said. Because before your thoughts become actions, you want to make sure they're properly met. And that's why Yahushua mentioned about adultery in the mind. Because an undisciplined mind leads to undisciplined actions. You need to be able to stop it up here. If you stop it up here, it doesn't go further. You cannot stop a wicked thought from entering your mind, but you can definitely kick it back out. You can stop it from staying in your mind. That's what you gotta master. That's the discipline. Discipline is having that thought, but then turning it down, saying, no, I ain't gonna do that. Why? Because that's not right. I don't give a damn what they're saying I could gain from that. I'm not gonna do it. So yeah, you were reading sign, right? Which was saying don't follow your mind. This is why we have laws, because there are those boundaries that you think about. This is what I'm thinking of doing. Where does it fall throughout the scriptures? If somebody asks me, what do you think about abortions, or what do you think about this? My answer is not going to be some wayward shit. My answer is going to be within the bounds of what the scriptures say. That's why you need scriptures. If you don't have the law, statutes, and commandments, you're following your mind, as we read in Jeremiah 17:9. But the mind by default is going to do whatever the hell it's going to want to do. Why? Because we got stony hearts. Go ahead.
I was going to say real quick that even with that, people are still not following their mind because they're following Esau's agenda in this program.
Right.
So really, the mind, like Elder Tizan always says about women, is a blank disc, and you just put in what you want to program the person's mind to be about. So Esau's just programming people's mind to think about, the abort mission as something that's, a good thing when it's not. It's evil and it's wicked.
Yep.
Right. So really, their mindset is they think that they're thinking something righteous or it's their own thoughts, but really it's something that was put in there by Esau.
That's right. And the level of mind control is at an all-time high right now. Y'all being subliminally controlled. All right. Y'all getting suggestive images all day, every day when you deal with your phone or when you're dealing with your laptop. Y'all being controlled subliminally, but it's on the left-hand side. Because guess what? Those suggestions are coming at a bombardment of times where, even when you want to think positive, you got suggestions that's in y'all that's telling y'all to think otherwise. Y'all think abortions is liberal or it's the right thing to do, but it's against the laws of the Lord, just like all the other laws that's set out for us. Okay, so those are subliminal suggestions that's given on to y'all by the deceiver, by Satan. Or the devil, because devil is only the deceptor, the person of deceit. And who is running this world is the deceivers, the wicked. Job 9:24. I always go back to that because guess what? Y'all being led by a bunch of liars that's telling you what's good is bad. It was really bad. What's really bad, they telling y'all is good. That's in the scriptures. If brother bring that out, got a good precept.
Proverbs 3:13. Happy is the man that findeth wisdom, and the man that getteth understanding. For merchandise of it is better than the merchandise of silver, and the gain thereof than fine gold. She is more precious than rubies, and all the things that thou canst desire are not to be compared unto her. Basically stating that wisdom is worth more than all of the merchandise of the world. Thinking that you're gonna be able to, find something more precious than the wisdom and understanding of the truth from this Bible. You got to do away with all that.
You're leaning upon another man's understanding, leaning upon your own understanding, which is a philosophy. That word philosophy, it get a lot of y'all caught up because y'all don't want to go according to words that are governed by the Most High to us. Y'all disregard that, and y'all want to go off of your own understanding.
in the merchandise of the world, you can't bring it with you.
Right.
So okay, you got all of these nice things, but in the end, it's you really get judged on your spirit, not these things that you can obtain along the way.
Solomon asked for wisdom. So I would say that's the spirit. Solomon, the first thing he asked for when he came into rulership and actually after precept. It's one of y'all brothers want to read it. Here, was it? It's First Kings 3, start around 7. But yeah, he which we know Yahweh Shai was Solomon in the reincarnation. The first thing he asked for, he didn't ask for a big booty bitch and tons of gold and all the nice things that we all want those things, right? But the first thing he primarily asked for was what? Wisdom. 3:7, right? This is the book of First Kings, chapter 3, verse 7. And now, O Lord, my power, thou hast made thy servant king instead of David, my father, and I am but a little child. I know not how to go out or come in. And thy servant is in the midst of thy people, which thou hast chosen, a great people that cannot be numbered nor counted for multitude. Give therefore thy servant an understanding heart to judge thy people, that I may discern between good and bad. For who is able to judge this thy so great a people?
I was going to say, now he went to the Most High to look for wisdom, right?
Job 28:12. But where shall wisdom be found, and where is the place of understanding? Man knoweth not the price thereof, neither is it found in the land of the living. The depth saith, it is not in me, and the sea saith, it is not with me. It cannot be gotten for gold, neither shall silver be weighed for the price thereof. It cannot be valued with the gold of Ophir, with the precious onyx, or the sapphire. The gold and the crystal cannot equal it, and exchange of it shall not be for jewels of fine gold. No mention shall be made of coral or of pearls, for the price of wisdom is above rubies. The topaz of Ethiopia shall not equal it, neither shall it be valued with pure gold. Whence then cometh wisdom, and where is the place of understanding?
So that was like a mouthful of the brother just said. But look, so Job is saying, where will you find wisdom? And what we just read right there with King Solomon, where did King Solomon go to get his wisdom? Job is giving an example. Where can I find wisdom? Where can I find understanding to know how to move and walk in this world? And King Solomon knew that, look, if I'm going to rule over this people, this great people, I need to go to the source that made everything, and he'll tell me how to rule the world. Matter of fact, 2 Samuel.
And Solomon was claimed to be one of the smartest men on earth.
He was.
He's a good king, too. For peace.
Verse 10, 25. You got a quick precept.
This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7, verse 24. For wisdom is more moving than any motion. She passeth and goeth through all things by reason of her pureness. For she is the breath of the power of God and a pure influence flowing from the glory of the Almighty. Therefore can no defiled thing fall into her.
Point as to where his wisdom coming from. That's why he went to the Most High, because she is the breath of the power of God.
Being King David's son, King David wised up Solomon.
Right. 2 Samuel 23:3. The power of Israel said, the rock of Israel spake to me. He that ruleth over men must be just, ruling in the fear of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua.
Ruling in the fear of the Most High is going to do what? That means that you're not going to want to go against the Most High, because you know that the Most High is going to bring judgment upon you. Because when you go into I believe it's a Wisdom of Solomon, the 6th chapter, like you start at the top, it talks about the Lord saying that
power has been given unto you, O king. That can also go into, obviously us, but also applies to Esau. Esau has been given the rulership of the earth, Job 9:24. And he knows what's right. Matter of fact, spoilers, a little bit of spoilers. I watched that movie, Jurassic World Dominion, the other night or yesterday. And basically in that movie, they had the man-made famine was being caused with the locusts. And basically when Esau was seeing that he was getting found out, he destroyed the locusts and everything in the lab because he knew he got found out. So that shows you that Esau knows what the fuck he's doing. He knows what's the right thing to do, but he still does wickedness because why? He can get away with it. He wants to have his profit in the world. So they know what the fuck they're doing. Because anytime someone sees that they their enterprise or something, their plan is gonna failing, they're like, oh, gotta burn the evidence. So that means you know what the fuck you do.
That's right. Right. I was in on that. You want me to grab Wisdom of Solomon 6?
Yeah, we could.
The top. Wisdom of Solomon 6. Oh, you had
I was
something?
going to say, like, we was actually just talking about the nakedness, like when Adam and Eve were hiding themselves. It's the same difference when Esau, they knew that they did something wrong, and when they were getting rebuked, they hid themselves. So same, vice versa on the left hand side. Esau does his wicked shit. He's like, he gotta hide himself.
Then he tries to play the victim like King, knowing what he had done. Now he's trying, oh Lord, my punishment is more than I can bear. After he lied.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened. I don't know.
And the difference is they actually aren't ashamed. They're actually happy that they're causing all this wickedness because they want to be empowered and they're trying to play God here on this earth.
That's nice and fair, because that's good that you want to bring that peace.
Yep. Wisdom of Solomon 6:1. Hear therefore, O ye kings, and understand. Learn, ye that be judges of the ends of the earth. Give ear, ye that rule the people, and glory in the multitude of nations. Like the brother said, Esau has been given that dominion right now. And what's about to happen is going to be a transfer of power. Esau's the end of the world. Jacob is the beginning of it that follow it. But as for now, we could apply this to Esau because he is the judge that's over the earth, but he's a wicked judge.
If I may say that this change in rulership is not going to be by force, but eventually it's going to get violent, obviously. But it's a changing of the mind, it's a changing of wisdom, because Esau, like when you read, I believe it's, I always get them confused. I know it's not Isaiah. I think it's Ezekiel, the 28th chapter, talks about thou art the anointed cherub that covered.
King of Tyre.
Yeah, you don't gotta get it, but I'm just quoting. But so Esau has covered the world in darkness. He's what? He's changed the course of the world. He's changed everything and put his vibration, his ways upon the earth. But how the world's gonna change is through wisdom, by the true wisdom of Yahweh Bashem Yashai. So this rulership, this change of power is not gonna be happening by force. You see, when people see us, they're like, well, what are you gonna do? How are you gonna force them to change? We're not gonna do anything. Like it says in Zephaniah 3:9. Wait ye upon me. So Yahweh Shai is going to come and he's going to change things. He's going to restore all order. Because at the beginning, when he was Adam, it was given unto him. So when he comes back, when he's coming back as second coming, Yahweh Shai, that's when he's going to restore all things, because it begins with him. We can't do nothing. It starts with our king. The king has to establish the rulership. Why do you think people put a king over? Why do you think Israel was asking for a king over them? So they could what? Well, really, because Israel is wicked, they want to be like the other nations. But what? You want order, you want establishment.
Right.
Like when we was watching them videos about with Bruce Lee, the starting of the Roman Empire, what they had kings. Because what? You have to establish something. You have to set something up.
Yeah, because the king, the scriptures say that as the way of the king is, so is the way of the city, right? So you got to have somebody, like even when you look at birds, right? You got the one in the front that's basically cutting through the wind and leading the rest of the pack. So it's easier to be of one mind when you have a king that's able to set that order that everybody will follow.
All right, this is Sirach chapter 10, verse 2. As the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers.
Right. So if the judges are wicked, that means the officers underneath him are also going to be wicked. But if the judge is righteous, then the officers underneath him are also going to be righteous. So it starts with the head. It always starts that way.
No, I was just gonna add on to that when you said that, it reminded me of the police actually were like slave catchers back then, like before they became the like this organization for to be police for the public. They were really actually catching Jake, and they was exactly so they was out here doing wicked shit for the rulers.
Yep. Yeah. Right. 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 Exactly. Exactly.
You know. And what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein.
So you see how Joe Biden is stupid now. He was on the whatever the proctor, he's like reading something. He's like, oh, read that line again. I'm like, like, how do you read that? Like, come on. I don't know if it's a joke or if he's serious at this point. It's like, but that's how the people are. The people are stuck on stupid now. But don't get it twisted. Israel, because I've been talking to some people, some people in the world. Israel does know what's going on. They just think that shit's gonna fly by or whatever, and that things are just gonna be normal. But Israel is waking up. They do know certain things. They know that shit isn't right here, but they just can't put the pieces. They just think that this is just how life is, but it's not.
Right.
Keep going back into the fact that this world is under a spell of dumbness, and I do believe that they are subjected to subliminal mind control with it being dumbed down. But that is the cost of what the Lord wanted to go through. Because 2/3 gotta be done away with. It's only gonna be a small remnant of people, like case in point, the brother who drove with the first direct, the way he was honking his horn, like he giving all praises to this movement right now. But it's been hundreds of people who walk past us right now. And we on the chief highways and byways. All right, this is Harlem. Okay, we see thousands of people in the 2 or 3 hours that we hit. We see hundreds of people, but nobody comes and stops and because they are afraid of them being ridiculed like how we're being ridiculed. But I'd rather be humiliated for the Lord's sake than to be humiliated by these people who got under the rule of them, who they get ready to pull a sheet of pull a table from underneath y'all and to show y'all that whatever y'all thinking Isaiah 47, which I thought was the case, is not even the case, man. They lies is about to be revealed to y'all. All right?
It's funny you mention that because I just saw an article not so long ago that the experts are starting to mention that they're not hopeful that the juice is going to be able to prevent any disease that it was supposed to prevent. So now I don't really know what's going to happen, but we'll see how the Lord makes it work. But basically, like the brother was saying, that veil is going to be lifted. Everything what's done in the dark must come to light. So
right. Lord allowing that to happen, no matter how secretive they are. Their truths are being revealed. They got whistleblowers that's going to their grave who want to reveal those secrets. Okay, you got these top secret engineers that's like 80 years old, and they want to reveal what they've been knowing for the last 40 years. So every lie that y'all been telling, y'all got people that's exposing those lies.
I got this Isaiah 30:1. Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with the covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin.
Right. So our people trust in America because they think that America is gonna help them out. Because why? Because Esau made a society to where you look at him for everything and you come to him for everything, like it says in the curses. So now, if you want continue in the society, you gotta get that thing. And if not, if they don't get the thing, they're gonna feel pressure because what? They might lose their job, they might lose their house. Some people live by themselves. I've talked to some people. People are scared right now, especially women. Don't let that shit fool you out. Scared. So it's like people are fearful. So why? They trust in each, but now it's coming out that taking that thing, it's like it can't save you. So now what?
Right.
What are you gonna do? If you don't want to turn back to the Lord, so it's like
second verse. that walk to go down into Egypt and have not asked at my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh and to trust in the shadow of Egypt.
And who's the Lord's mouth? We are. We're the ones outside for the Lord. I believe that's it's a Thessalonians, the spirit of his mouth, right?
Yep. Second Thessalonians.
Yeah. So we're the Lord. We're the Lord. Basically, we're speaking for the Lord. We're not just. I mean, we look like regular men, but we are speaking from the scripture. We're not bringing some BS to you to like just tell you anything, so that way you could just. We're not trying to make you go into the way of evil and make you die and things. We're trying to lead you along the right path, the path to salvation. Because if we really care about you, we're not going to, especially our people, we're not going to watch you do some dumb shit and die or whatever, because you're our people. When we see you, we see ourselves. Because think about it, you would like someone to have mercy upon you and tell you things. Imagine like us. Imagine if we were in the truth and we was on the other side and those people on this side. You would want someone to tell you like, yo, watch out, you about to do something stupid. It's the same thing like when you in the, when you was back in the world in the hood and shit. Niggas would warn you and tell you about, yo, you better stop doing that type of shit, otherwise you're gonna get got. Chill out. So really, when you look at the scriptures, listen to what I'm saying. I'm not saying the scriptures is like the left-hand side. When you look at it, the scriptures warn you about life and warn you and teach you like, yo, chill out and, use wisdom. When you read the book of Proverbs, always King Solomon always says, hear the instructions of thy father. So when you look at the scriptures with the law, statutes, commandments, especially like the books of wisdom, like Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, it's warning you about life and teaching you how to move as a man. But on the left-hand side, that's what the world does, but it's just a wicked side, though.
Wisdom of Solomon 8 and 7. And if a man love righteousness, her labors are virtues, for she teacheth temperance and prudence, justice and fortitude, which are such things as men can have nothing more profitable in their life.
And in the world, on the left-hand side, people do that. They try to tell you, yo, well, I don't think that's a good idea. Chill out. You might get into some trouble. You bring a heat upon you. But that's what the scriptures do on the right-hand side. So it's the same thing. But then you look at it, it's like, how is it that our people don't want to listen to it? It's because there's a spirit that's like a brick wall that's like blocking them from like coming to it.
You mentioned temperance. And temperance is like the brother going into self-control. Because wisdom is going to pump your brakes on something. You might be walking into a dumb situation because we're in the flesh at the end of the day. The only thing that's really keeping us on the right path is that wisdom, which is the spirit of Yahweh Shai that's in us, because he embodies the Most High's wisdom. So that's that when you're going into a situation and there's like something knocking on your head, like, hold on, dumbass, chill, stop. Because we all get simple at times. But really the Lord, he always will take care of his elect and guide them in the right way through that wisdom. Yeah, I was going to say, if a brother could get the definition of prudence.
Yep. I was going to say, like, if you listen to Eve sometimes when she be at work, she always like, oh, don't try me. I'm not the one. It's like, right. Is that really a wise thing to do? Because let's say you lose your job or whatever, or things like that. It's like, it would be better if you just keep silence, because if that person keeps messing with you, that's why you rely on the Lord, because if that person keeps messing with you, the Lord will defend you. And now eventually someone at the job might stick up for you, like, yo, just chill out, stop bothering her or whatever. That's like harassment. That's a big thing at jobs, especially now. That's harassment. What are you doing? Leave her alone. So it's best to rely on the Lord instead of you acting crazy, because there is a chance, which sometimes our people don't think about that. Our people don't think at all. It's just all emotion and action. You got to think and say, look, if I act out crazy, there's a chance I can lose my job. Things right now in the world is not too good right now. So let me chill out, calm down. This person is not worth my time. Let me calm down and just ignore him, or at least try to deal with the situation the best you can. And if you believe in Yahweh Bashim Al Shah, the Lord's going to make something happen to where this person can get in trouble at his job. He might get fired. The Lord, that's how he'll deliver you.
And they got that, Eve got that from the serpent, the so-called white man, like the brother had mentioned earlier, because that carnal nature, that like willing to jump at any little thing, that's a trait of the so-called white man. That's a trait of the devil, the Edomites. If they're carnal, they ready. That's why he sold his birthright. He could have just fasted, could have just applied a little wisdom, but he can't get right. He's the wicked.
You use the term, I'm about that life. Saying you about that left-hand side life, man. So spiritual people gonna think about it and let the Lord fight his battle. But if you're ready to fight every battle, a saying is every battle is not meant to be fought. Right? So if you about fighting every battle because you about that life, you headed for destruction.
Or if you're about that life, be about the consequences as well. Right. Then go complain about it.
Exactly. Hey, sometimes you win a battle by not. Sometimes the battle is just based on the decision you make. You know, like should I let you go? You may be facing somebody that's like, so what's up, nigga? You know, and your mind, you like, yeah, there's people around. He gonna make me look like I'm weak. Should I really do this? Because you in the hood. But the battle right there is in your mind. Should I fight this guy or not? Not physically fighting him, because then you say, you know what, whatever, man, and then you leave. You don't win the battle, because imagine you went up to him and he pulled out a gun and then pow. So some battles is really deciding whether you're gonna fight the guy or not. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. So Wisdom of Solomon 8, we mentioned there's 4 things that was mentioned in the 7th verse. It mentioned temperance, prudence, justice, and fortitude. When you go into it, they call it 4 cardinal virtues. So the brother has prudence.
Got prudent. The word prudent, it says acting with or showing care and thought for the future. Some synonyms it has here: sagacious, wise, sage, advisable, sensible, cautious, shrewd.
You can look up sagacious.
Yep.
Prudence. That's where you get the word prudential from. Prudential is a bank. Prudential, they got the Prudential Center in New Jersey. That's just their intelligence. It's an intelligent situation.
Right.
When you being prudent, you're using wisdom.
That's right. It's prudent, because coming out on the highways and hedges, giving ourselves a living sacrifice. Most people look at this as foolish, but this is actually prudent.
Right.
The Lord has a spirit on us to do something that's prudent, because it's foreseeing something that's about to happen. So we want to be covered in that day. So we know we have to do certain things for the Lord in order for him to protect us when that day comes. So that would be prudent.
Right.
What precept is that? It says, the prudent man will see
Perceive
the
the
evil.
evil, right of himself. Proverbs. Yep.
Beautiful. That's it.
I got the word sagacious. It says here, sagacious, having or showing keen mental discernment and good judgment.
Heavy. That's great.
That's a word for your ass right there.
Yeah, that's right.
So the word of the day is prudent.
Yep.
I need to think about that, because a lot of people don't think before they move. So we brought that out early.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And that was even a lesson during class last night, but we not gonna tell.
So,
It's a good lesson.
yeah, so we touched on the first 2, temperance, prudence, and justice and fortitude. Those are pretty much more straightforward. Justice is understanding what's the right decisions to make, or what is a proper judgment on the situation, right? Like, all right, if a man commits adultery with a woman, they're supposed to, justice in that situation is death for both of them. The justice for America, what they've done against the Lord's people, is that they're going to be burned with fire. That's going to be the giant altar of sacrifice, which is America, Babylon the Great. And then fortitude, fortitude is strength, courage. That was it on that.
As a judge, you got to be able to. That's why the scriptures say you got to hear the whole matter before you form a judgment, because you hear, oh, this man and woman were committing adultery. Ah, shit. Get the stones, him and her, right? But if you can look into the matter and find out, because there's a reason the Lord has certain laws in place. So you find out maybe he forced her to do it, right? And maybe she wanted to scream, but maybe he broke her voice box or some shit, So you find out the matter, you hear what's going on, like Daniel. When you read in the book of
there
you go. Now, if the spirit hadn't jumped on Daniel, because Daniel said, hold on, what the hell's wrong with y'all? Y'all just gonna cast judgment without hearing the matter and just put somebody to death? No. That's not how you do it, And then he looked into it with sagacity, right? So Daniel was a man that was blessed with sagacity. He was sagacious. That's why he was able to interrogate both of them with such techniques to be able to find out. See, ultimately, even as a judge, you got to be able to sometimes use guile. You got to be able to play a trick on somebody's mind to get the truth out of them. Because if you come straight forward, you're not gonna catch them. Let me give you an example. When you got mice in your house, right? A mouse is not gonna come out if you go to them straight forward. Yo, what's up? Come here. Let me deal with you. The mouse ain't gonna get out. What's up, nigga? No. You're gonna need to be tricky, right? You're gonna need to set a trap, set the bait, turn the lights off, act like you're not there when you expected him to come there. So that when he gets caught, you tell, I got you, nigga. Right? So that's how you gotta do. You gotta play, you gotta treat. If you want the truth, you want to catch somebody,
sometimes you got to treat him like a mousetrap, like King Solomon did. He acted like he was going to kill the baby, but he really wasn't. That was the mousetrap. That was the bait, and they jumped right on it, right? So sometimes, as a judge, you got to be able to play on people's minds, not in a wicked way, but through righteousness.
In the spirit too, just to land back off your point, if I may, that the bait is really the prophets is the bait that the Lord set out for Esau. Esau's the rat, and he set out the prophets as that bait because he wants to come get us. He wants to consume us. But then when that time comes, the Lord's going to pull us out the way, and then that trap is going to slam his head down. That's it. Smash him in two.
Isaiah 59:19.
There you go.
Right. First, you got a precept?
No, I was gonna say like how the elder apostle Tahar did like last week or so.
Keys.
Yeah.
Yep, it was all through the spirit, all through the spirit. But you got it, bro.
So much. So that when I read that Wisdom of Solomon 87, that was it. I could read a little more if you want.
You mentioned that we're not out here to tell you what we want to say. We're telling you what the Spirit of the Lord is. I had a quick precept for you on that, and we can go from there. Because teaching the word is like trying to keep a fire going. So we all, with precepts and with different points, you're throwing in logs into the fire to keep it burning. To keep it burning. So it says here, Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 10, Matthew chapter 10, verse 20. For it is not ye that speak, but the Spirit of your Father which speaketh in you. Right on to your point.
Whenever we come out our mouths, man, the Spirit of the Lord is transferring information throughout all the brothers that's out here. So, you might have a thought that's coming across to you, but that's just the Spirit hopping off that brother going into you to bring more edification onto the purpose of where we coming from. Right now we coming from on the spirit of the fact that we all out here with a purpose that, to give the fruit out there edification. The people that's watching right now, everybody might not stop and listen when they walk past, but we got people out there in the YouTube world that, need this, that look forward to this, and all we doing is just sharpening their swords, giving them more fuel to the fire to add on to when they out there in the world. When they want to start pushing camp, tips to keep them sharp, But right now, man, all we doing is just passing the baton in a marathon.
Right.
But you got a lot of camps out here right now, Saturday afternoon, doing the same thing. We in the hive mind, we got the same collective mind that's thinking the same thing. Let's do our work for the Lord. Right? Feed the sheep. Some people on the chief on the street highways and byways that's busier than this. That's just giving you tips on how to deal with things when you out there.
I got the 8th verse here, if I may. Wisdom of Solomon 8 and 8. If a man desire much experience, she knoweth things of old, and conjectureth aright what is to come. She knoweth the subtleties of speeches, and can expound dark sentences. She foreseeth signs and wonders, and the events of seasons and times. Ooh. That's cold right there, because that's all prophecy. Prophecy, events and signs to come. So it's the wisdom of the Lord that's in us. We didn't just wake up one day and say, yeah, Isaiah 47. That's talking about America. That's clear. No, the wisdom of the Lord through the laying of the hands of the presbytery, which is the body of elders that taught us from the apostle on down. It was wisdom was in those men, and then we drank of the waters of wisdom, which we read Sirach 24, that the brook became a river. So eventually we would drink from their living waters, and then we ourselves were able to bring forth living waters. And it's that wisdom that allows us to expound on dark sentences. What's Babylon the Great? What's the Charagma going into? The chip, everything that we could go into is all through wisdom.
That's right. The Lord gonna reveal himself onto the secrets onto the prophet, man. We gonna automatically know it's in our spirit. If you are the elect, man, it's just gonna connect with you without having to wake up and do this for 50, 60 years. It's just gonna be in you as soon as you get in here, man. All right, that's that spirit that's gonna be in you. You're gonna be breaking down chapters that you ain't even know what it was about. You're gonna get the teachings from your elders, but it's gonna make perfect sense to you. You ain't gonna have to be inquisitive and skeptic about what they're teaching you. It's just gonna feel like a perfect harmony. All right.
Yep. But even then, you still got to go in like the Church of Berea, you know.
That's
But
right.
like the brother's saying, your mind is going to be like that good ground. When the seed falls in it, all it takes is a little bit of water, you know, to nurture it, and you're going to grow. The scriptures say that. What's that? James 1 and 5. If any man lack wisdom, let him ask of the Most High, who giveth it liberty. You know. So the Most High got no problem giving you wisdom, but he's not going to give wisdom to any old body. Like we read earlier, you got to be worthy of the wisdom. Because with great power comes great responsibility. But if you're irresponsible, why would you be given great power?
I'm gonna jump down to the 13th verse. This is heavy right here. It says, "Moreover, by the means of her I shall obtain immortality, and leave behind me an everlasting memorial to them that come after me." Here we are reading the words of Solomon now. We know he came back as Yahushua, and through wisdom, which he embodied that wisdom when he walked 2,000 years ago on the earth. He handled his business through wisdom because he is the wisdom of the Most High and a man. So through that wisdom, through walking with wisdom, through making the prudent decisions, you know, by being sagacious, like we spoke about. What the hell kind of bug is that? I have no idea.
I seen it over there for like
That's a,
oh,
that's a spirit created.
oh, there's two. There's two. It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Jumping one. Huh?
Leave behind me an everlasting memorial to them that come after me. That's how you go into the scripture. Oh, he came back?
No, there's another one.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
If the preacher got the Lord created for that time, they probably can eat through concrete.
No, right. Titanium.
Y'all hear about sardines falling out the sky?
What?
And,
Oh, shit.
yeah,
That's wild.
yeah, just raining sardines. I think in the Midwest, and the birds is eating so much of them that they overwhelmed with fatness because it's millions of goddamn sardines falling out the sky. Those are wonders, man.
Yeah, I did.
All right, you know,
That's right.
we got the chariots moving on a high level now. You know, and with Esau playing with that dimensional machine,
CERN, yeah.
man, you don't know what they going. That's that Cloverfield. Y'all saw the movie Cloverfield when they were messing with that CERN that brought out that beast.
His head was above the clouds. Oh,
Right.
shit. How tall it was. Yeah. It's nothing for the Lord to create a creature like that. Plus, Leviathan gonna pop out. You might escape the troops, escape all these other things, and then you get to the ocean shore, and then Leviathan peek his head out the water. What you gonna do then?
Yeah.
No? I'm gonna keep reading. You can break it down. I shall set the people in order, and the nations shall be subject unto me.
Right, righteousness, not just any old wisdom. You got to do the points of righteousness, like King David said. Man's gonna rule over the people. He has to fear the Most High, which Esau doesn't fear the Most High. He does everything opposite of what the Most High wants. That's why his kingdom is being brought down.
That's right. Horrible tyrants shall be afraid when they do but hear of me. I shall be found good among the multitude and valiant in war. Valor.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah. Yahushua, he's a man of war. Yep. The Heavenly Father's a man of war. Yahushua is a man of war.
Yep. To be a man of war, you got to have wisdom as well, you know, because it takes wisdom to know what wars to get involved in, and also you got to know, you know, strategy, right? To be when you look at Judas Maccabees, right? The Lord put a certain spirit on Judas for him to be able to win those wars because he used what they call guerrilla warfare, which was strategy. A lot of people think of war and they just think of gladiator, you just jump and just tear everything up. But you got to know when to attack, you know, formations. War is more than just one lump of people and another lump of people and they just charge at each other. No, you got different formations. In the ancient world, you had elephants, which were like tanks, you know. You had the horsemen, spearmen, footmen, and then you would, you know, have them in different formations. Some might go first from the side, some might come in from here. You had the archers. So war is not just you just jump in the middle and just go chasing people with a sword and shit. No, you know.
Leonidas. They showed that in 300.
Yeah, spirit. You just said that.
Yeah, spirit. Because if you couldn't lift your shield over your shoulder, they wouldn't let you in the military or the the army or to be a warrior.
Yep.
So, and I think they used a certain strategy at one point in the movie where they they used their shields first.
Mhm.
And once the attackers hit the shield, they would move the shield and then
Exactly.
spear. Then they would go back into formation, so they couldn't get hit from all ends.
Yep. Like a shield wall,
Uh-huh.
like in Vikings.
Yeah, they became like a turtle.
Yeah.
A turtle has great defense. And then when you apply the wisdom of, because that wisdom, who made a turtle? The Most High. Now by Shem Shot. But when you apply even things from nature, like a bird, that's how they know how to make planes, because they apply the wisdom and aerodynamic nature of a bird in order to make those things. So everything, even what Esau has on the left hand, is all through wisdom. It's just that left hand.
That's put on the whole armor of Most High.
Right.
I was gonna say that shows you that war and things like that is more than just being muscular and strong and having the most men. It's about strategy, and like you were saying, and knowing how to do things and when to move. Like the elder Tazan always likes to play chess, knowing when to move, knowing when to strike, knowing when not to do this, knowing when to do that. So it's not about how big and strong you are, like Paul was saying in I believe that's 1 Corinthians the 2nd chapter. You see, not many wise men, not many strong men. No, it's about obviously the Lord wants somebody who's sincere, but it's not about how big and strong you are. It's about how the mind up here, how you can think, how you can move.
Got a precept, Ecclesiastes 7:19. It says, "Wisdom strengtheneth the wise more than 10 mighty men which are in the city." And I think there's another scripture that said,
I think I know what you're talking about.
"Wisdom takes down the whole like a man."
That's what
So I was trying to find that one, but it's going to show you his brains over brawn. Somebody that's not as strong as you can still defeat you, because by using wisdom, you know.
He that ruleth his spirit is better than the mighty.
That's right.
All throughout history, most of the armies of Israel were outnumbered, but we always managed to surpass because of the strength and power of Yahweh Shah.
Yeah, you take
and
like Judas
strategy.
Maccabees,
Yeah.
his armies. They were greatly outnumbered, but that's when Judas said what he said. As a matter of fact, it's a good precept. We'll get that. I'll see if I can find it in either first or second Maccabees
third chapter.
about the war is given, victory is given by the Most High to.
First one is the third chapter.
All right, let's take a look. Actually, there's 1 year 15. Second Maccabees 15. Matter of fact, second Maccabees 15, and who got an apocrypha? All right, get second Maccabees chapter 15. You can start at verse 6. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's bad. Well, it's a good precept. Matter of fact, start at 1. 15 and 1. Yep.
This is Second Maccabees chapter 15, verse 1. But Nicanor, hearing that Judas and his company were in a strong place, were in the strong places about Samaria, resolved without any danger to set upon them on the Sabbath day.
Yep. Because he knew that on the Sabbath day was when we rested, right? Go ahead.
Nevertheless, the Jews that were compelled to go with him said, "Oh, destroy not so cruelty and barbarously, but give honor to that day which he that seeth all things hath honored with holiness above other days."
So that's why the Sabbath is so important, because the Most High honored it, So he sanctified it. So if you're saying that you can sleep with your woman, you can have sex on the Sabbath, you can do all of these, that you can't. No, you can't. You're going off straight up. And the Sabbath is so important. The Most High in the law said if you defile the Sabbath, you will be put to death. But the point that he's making here is you have certain Jews that were compelled to go with Nicanor, right? So they were saying, look,
I know you're planning to do this, but don't do it. You know, at least not on the Sabbath, for the Most High's sake, because they feared. They were Israelites. Go on.
Verse 4.
3.
Yeah, verse 3. Then the most ungracious wretch demanded if there were a mighty one in heaven that had commanded the Sabbath day to be kept.
Right. So the ungracious wretch was Nicanor, right? And he's saying, look, it says he demanded if there was a mighty one in heaven that had commanded the Sabbath to be kept. So he was basically, there you go. Yep. Yep. Keep going.
Verse 4. And when they said, there is in heaven a living Lord and mighty who commanded the seventh day to be kept, then said the other, and I also am mighty upon earth, and I command to take arms and to do the king's business. Yet he obtained not to have his wicked will done.
This guy, Nick, man, his name's a demon.
He's being stubborn.
But that shows you how these heathens move. Because, like, yo, you would think, oh, all right, they want a day. I don't believe in y'all Jews' religion. But you know what? I'm going to take an extra day, strategize,
Right.
maybe get some extra men, you know, solidify my victory. Nah, fuck that. We're going to fight today. It's like, come on, man.
He said, look,
Going against the most
you
high
said,
will.
you said that there's a power in heaven that, well, I'm a power on earth, and I'm telling you we're gonna take up arms. This nigga, he's the pride man. You going?
Verse 5. Then said the other, I also am mighty upon earth, and I commanded to take arms and to do the king's business. Yet he obtained not to have his wicked will done. Verse 6. So Nicanor, in exceeding pride and haughtiness, determined to set up a public monument of his victory over Judas and them that were with him. But Maccabeus had every sure confidence that the Lord would help him.
So he had faith, right? Go on.
Right? Verse 8. Wherefore he exhorted his people not
Exhorted.
his people not to fear the coming of the heathen against them, but to remember the help which in former time they had received from heaven, and now to expect the victory and aid which should come unto them from the Almighty.
So Judas is basically exhorting them, calling into remembrance the things the Lord did for us in the past, and telling them to expect the aid of the Lord. So that's the mindset that so look, second Maccabees, the 15th chapter, is a heavy chapter that can be applied very, very heavily in this time. We should expect the Most High, Bahashem Yahushai, to deliver us because of what he has done and because of what he said he's going to do. So it ain't a matter of if, it's a matter of when. If you have faith and you are truly serving the Lord the way he wants to be served, then you should expect the Lord to come through and deliver you.
Psalms 33 and 22. Let thy mercy, O Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, be upon us, according as we hope in thee.
Saying you're supposed to hope in the Most High. I believe Sirach, the second chapter, tells you about that. He that fear the Lord, hope in his mercy.
I may say, I don't know what script it is, but uh, men of 10 shall destroy armies of.
Oh, one shall teach 100 and
right.
40,000 of life. Yep.
Yeah.
That's also in Psalms, the 60th chapter. I forgot where it is, but I think it's like towards the latter end where it goes into who shall bring me into Edom, who shall bring me to the strong city.
Yep. I got it for you.
Psalm 60 and 9. Who will bring me into the strong city? Who will lead me into Edom? Will not thou, O God, which has cast us off, and thou, O power, which does not go out with our armies?
Right, because when you go back during the time of the book of Joshua, what happened? Joshua and them was conquering, but there was that one dude that Got his name.
Oh,
that,
Achan?
okay, that he took the little Babylonian gold or whatever.
The garment, yeah, Babylonian garment.
Right, and then what? The Most High was displeased with that, and then when they went to war, they didn't succeed. And Joshua was like, "Yo, what's going on? What's happening?" It's like one of your peoples took the thing, so take care of him, and I'll help y'all out again.
Right. So there was a plague within the camp, and that was him, Achan. So what happened to him? He got stoned to death, but it wasn't just him. It was him and his family and their sheep and all that. They stoned their ass to death in that valley, and it was known as the Valley of Ahor, where they stoned his ass to death. Why? Because he was disobedient. So now you got to imagine that, right? Because you read it, it's one thing, but I imagine if they find out your father confesses and they like grab his ass up. They grab him, yo, bro, chill, hey, and you got the whether he had daughters or whatever, wives, they all screaming, oh, please, no, wait, not me. Hey, grab her ass too, bitch, you ain't innocent, grab it. You know what I'm saying? Because guess what? The family had to have known that he took it, but nobody said anything. So you guilty as well. Like Sapphira and Ananias, yeah. So really, you want to make sure that within your group, when you serve in the Lord, everybody's on it, because the Lord might not just tell you straight up. He might just start making things go wrong for you. Then you got to examine, Lord, what's going on? Let me. No, yeah, the bar you. That was it on what you had.
Yeah, that was it.
Okay. Yeah, go back. Second Maccabees 15, and I think you were on verse 9. Mhm.
And so comforting them out of the law and the prophets, and withal putting them in mind of battle that they won before, he made them more cheerful.
So he started exhorting them in the spirit. He started comforting them. He started letting them know what? Through the law, through the prophets. Remember when Sennacherib came and what was going to happen to us, and what happened? The Lord sent a death angel down and slew him, and he fled. You know, remember when this happened? You know, and then now in our time we have so many examples to go back to. Remember when the Egyptians were chasing us, and the Lord gave us a path to go down. You know, remember when Heliodorus came and the Lord sent angels down to whoop his ass. Remember when we went to battle and the Lord sent angels down to go to battle with us, and they were shooting lightning bolts at the enemy and shit. You know, guarding Judas Maccabees on each side. That was the Lord fighting for us.
There's one more story I recently read. I believe it's in Second Chronicles, maybe the 20th chapter, when King Jehoshaphat was ruling, and I think it was Edom and Moab that was trying to come at them. And basically, King Jehoshaphat feared. He prayed to the Lord. A man of the Lord came up and said, "Look, don't worry about nothing. The Lord's gonna handle it. Just chill out, be easy." And I think the Lord made it to where Moab and Edom fought against each other. They killed each other out.
I think he messed with their heads. Yeah.
And basically, then you have to do nothing.
Yeah,
The Lord just had them kill each other.
Yep. I think there was another scripture where they were going to go up again, man. They were going to go up against an army, but that army was like 1,000,000. If I read it correctly, it was like a thousand or so like that. But it was a real large multitude. I don't know if it's the same story, but I know that once they prayed to the Lord, He took care of it. Like the time with Joshua, or no, not Joshua. What's one? Jonathan. When they
him in his armor bearer?
Yeah, him and his armor bearer. Yep. So the Most High, you know what I'm saying, He's constantly working. When He needs to divinely intervene straight up, He gonna do it. So that's what Judas Maccabees was doing. He was calling. So that shows you that what Judas wasn't just a warrior. He was a prophet. He was a man of the spirit. He was a Levite, a priest. That's why he remembered these things, and he called it to remember. Remember, this time the Lord did this. This time, well, of course he would have to be, because his father was Mattathias, who was a priest. So you damn right, him and his brothers knew about the law and what was going on.
It shows in Psalms 121, it says, "He that keepeth Israel shall neither suffer nor sleep."
Yeah, that's right. Yep. Let's keep going, Bart. Verse 10.
And when he had stirred up their minds, he gave them their charge, showing them withal the falsehood of the heathen, and the breach of oaths.
Sure.
Verse 11. Thus he armed every one of them not so much with defense or shields and spears as with comfortable and good words. And besides that, he told them a dream worthy to be believed,
Hmm. Go ahead.
as if it had been so indeed, which did not a little rejoice them.
So he was basically exhorting them, and as it says here, he armed them, right? Not much with defensive shields and spears. That's what 2 Corinthians 10:4, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but spiritual. So he armed them because Judas Maccabees knew that what's stronger when you go to war is the mind that you have. If you go to war with the spirit of confidence that you're going to do well, you're going to perform better. But if you go already fearing, then even if you can run this fast, you're not going to run this fast because your body's being crippled and restricted by fear. So that's what we're doing now. We're arming ourselves with the courage and the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai by going into these scriptures, calling it to remembrance, constantly teaching and repeating and going back into these instances, because that's very important. And then it says he told them a dream that he had that made them encouraged even more.
Mhm. Deuteronomy 20:3.
We'll read the second verse actually.
And it shall be when ye are come nigh unto the battle, that the priest shall approach and speak unto the people.
And that's what happened because he was of the Levites.
And shall say unto them, Hear, O Israel, ye approach this day unto battle against your enemies. Let not your hearts faint, fear not, and do not tremble, neither be ye terrified because of them.
Right.
For Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, your power is he that goeth with you to fight for you against your enemies to save you.
Woo! Who said that? Moses?
This is a Deuteronomy,
Right? So it's likely Moses said that, right? And Moses said that because when you go back to Exodus, there was a time when the Most High told them he wasn't going to go with them. After they had worshipped the golden calf, the Most High said, y'all going, I'm going to send the angel, but I ain't going with y'all. And Moses had to plead on their behalf. And then the Lord showed him his glory and agreed to go with him. See? So you're damn right Moses was going to say that. You know, don't fear because the Lord is with us. Do you know what I had to go through to get him, to get the Lord to come with us? What the hell are you fearing for? We got everything we need.
Right.
There's more?
One more thing. I believe after Joshua and Caleb spied out the land, I think it was Joshua that said that the Lord delighted in us, we'll get the land. Basically, he was saying these people's food is easy. If the Lord delighted in us, we'll get it.
But that's the same spirit David had when he came against Goliath. He didn't care about how tall, how experienced Goliath. Goliath was a man of war. David was tending to sheep. It doesn't mean David was weak, but he wasn't in the battlefield as Goliath. He was in his own kind of battlefield. But David came there and knew, like Judas knew, that what? It's not about the physical weapons, it's about the spiritual. Victory is given from the Lord. That's why with a sling and stones, he took out a warrior.
First Samuel 17:45. Then said David to the Philistine, Thou comest to me with a sword and with a spear and with a shield, but I come to thee in the name of Yahweh of hosts.
There you go.
The power of the armies of Israel, whom thou hast defied. This day will Yahweh deliver thee into mine hand.
So David didn't come there second guessing. He came there like, look, man, give me that shit, man. What's wrong with these guys, man? This day the Lord is going, not that I think the Lord is going, oh Lord, I hope you don't. This day the Lord is going to do it.
That's how he was. He was boastful. He was boastful in the Lord because when he was talking to the men before he went to fight him, he was like, look, thy servant will fight and take down this Philistine. And when they was all hearing him, they was like, yo,
Who's this young lad?
bring him to the king. Saul said, like, yo, you ain't able to fight with him. You're a youth. He's a man of war from his youth.
They were all scared. And they were men of war, and they were scared of Goliath. But David as a youth, and that's how the Lord, he deals with underdogs.
There you go. Yep.
I believe he came into the camp with like a war cry.
Oh, who, David?
David, yeah, I believe so.
It's funny because when he first came, his brothers was like, the hell, yeah, they say, yo, man, get your ass. And you know, it's a spirit
because the Lord really sent David there.
Yeah.
That's why he put the spirit on Jesse to tell David, yo, take this to your brothers over there. And when David got there, that's when he was like, oh, what the hell is going on? They're like, oh, you just here because you want to see this fight and all that. He said, no, Dad, he sent me to give y'all this and all of that. So the Lord sent him there. And then when he got there is when he found out what's going on. And he's like, what the hell is wrong with y'all? You know?
Got it. Real quick, I just want to read the 20th verse because it shows the spirit that David came in for the battle. And David rose up early in the morning and left the sheep with the keeper and took and went as Jesse had commanded him. And he came to the trench as the host was going forth to the fight and shouted for the battle.
There you go.
For Israel and the Philistines had put the battle in array, army against army.
But you know what? David was willing to do something nobody else was willing to do. And that's why he has a position that nobody else under him has. Of course, you have Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, but under Yahweh Shai, the top king on earth is King David. Just like back then, even King Saul was saying there, and David, a youth, came in there and he said, look, what I don't understand what's the problem here. You got everything you need to succeed. What are you scared of? Because they lack that faith.
Lord had also delivered him from other situations like the lion, the bear. So he already knew, and plus Samuel had anointed him. So he already knew, like, hey, the Lord is taking care of me up until this point. What do I have to believe that he wouldn't take care of me in this situation?
The Lord built up his faith.
Exactly. Just like he's doing for us.
And it's funny because the lion and the bear, right? Because around that region, lions and bears are common. They used to come from a valley that's not too far where they would come up in there. So you will notice they would use that a lot. Like in Amos, as if a lion, he fled from a lion and a bear met him. Those are some of those predators. When the heathens were in the land of Samaria, they had to send a Levite to go teach them the ways of the Lord because the Lord sent what? Lions after them.
Back in the 46th verse, this day will Yahweh deliver thee into mine hand, and I will smite thee and take thine head from thee, and I will give the carcasses of the host of the Philistines this day unto the fowls of the air and to the wild beasts of the earth, that all the earth may know that there is a power in Israel.
So David came there with the attitude that this is what I'm going to do to you, and this is how I'm going to do it. All right, I'm the Most High is going to give you into my hands. And I'm not just going to defeat you. I'm going to take your head off, and then feed your body to the birds. So that everybody may know that the Most High exists. Rightfully so, because what are the chances of a youth taking out a professional warrior who's a giant, a Philistine of Gath with freaking 6 fingers and 6 toes? You know what I mean? He got a firm grip on that sword. It's an extra finger. How the hell do you have an extra finger? But it's a spirit that he had, and the Lord rewarded David's faith with the success. So if David could do it, why can't we? Look at it, right? The odds were stacked against him. Nobody else was trying to stand up, so he stood up. Well, in this society, we going up against freaking powers like the Apostle Paul said. Spiritual wickedness in high places. Nobody else is doing it but us.
Right, that's right. Yeah. And, this is like David versus Goliath, but on a higher level. Because they got tanks, weaponry, aircraft carriers, all this shit. But through the names of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, like the brother that went into that wisdom, that's what's gonna allow us to overcome all these things.
Right. My bad. Not to stay away from that, but just to go a little bit more. What's his name? Gideon. Because the Lord deals with a small sanctuary. So you're gonna look at it. How is it that this small amount of men are fighting against this government that has all this power? They enslaved your people destroyed. Look at how y'all are, and y'all still the small sanctuary going against them. And that's what the Lord did with Gideon. It was a small sanctuary because the Lord said he wanted to keep breaking down the army more and more. He's like, let Israel say that they did it by their own means.
Right. That's right. The glory goes to the Lord. Right. And it's got a breaking news alert. It says grocery store shooting. Saturday shoppers sent scrambling for their lives as deadly gunfire erupts. Probably somewhere in Texas. I'm seeing something here. Yeah. Well, we'll find out. Find out.
Yeah, that's true. Because eventually people are not going to go to sleep.
Yeah. And if they do, people gonna go there armed. They either getting ready to rob somebody or to defend what they got. That cashier, he ain't
He ain't staying there for much longer. Fuck that.
Peace ain't coming.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
You showed that in the movie World War Z.
They're gonna arrest you and take your stuff, then leave your cup.
This next verse goes perfectly with what you were saying too about the sword. People, everybody's gonna have a gun, right? But what does the scripture say? And all this assembly shall know that the Lord saveth not with sword and spear, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give you into our hands.
And that's pretty much the same thing Judas Maccabee said. The battle is the Lord's, and he's gonna give you into our hands. That's how it works. We're not, it's not like we're so great. The Lord is gonna give you into our hands. So that's how we're gonna win the battle. You know? But yeah, we could go back. Second Maccabees chapter 15, verse 12.
This was his vision.
Mhm.
That Onias, what's his name?
Nice.
Onias,
Mhm.
who had been high priest,
Mhm.
a virtuous and a good man, revealed, reverent, and conversation, like sunlight, right? Gentle and condition, well spoken also, and exercised from a child in all points of virtue, holding up his hands, prayed for the whole body of the Jews.
Mhm.
This done in like manner, there appeared a man with gray hairs and exceedingly glorious, who was a wonderful and excellent majesty.
Woo! Keep going.
Then Onias answered, saying, this is a lover of the brethren, who prayeth much for the people and for the holy city, to wit, Jeremiah and prophet of God. Prophet of God.
Yep, to wit, Jeremiah is the prophet of God. So in Judas Maccabee's vision or his dream, he saw Onias the high priest praying, and when Onias was praying, Jeremiah showed up. He said he had gray hairs. Go ahead. And he said what? He had he was of wonderful and excellent majesty. You going? Verse 15.
Whereupon Jeremiah, holding forth his right hand, gave to Judas a sword of gold,
Mhm.
and in giving it, he spake thus:
Mhm.
take this holy sword, a gift from God, with the which thou shalt wound the adversaries.
So in Judas Maccabee's dream, Jeremiah the prophet gave him a golden sword and told him to use that sword because that's what he's going to use to defeat the adversaries. Go on.
Saying the prophet is the Lord's mouthpiece, so that's like basically who got the green light.
Yep, exactly. Exactly.
Verse 17. Thus being well comforted by the words of Judas, which were very good, able to stir them up to valor and to encourage the hearts of the young men,
Mhm.
they determined not to pitch camp, but courageously to set upon them, and manfully to try the matter by conflict.
We need to go to war because they were going against Nicanor. Go on.
Because the city and the sanctuary and the temple were in danger,
Mhm.
for the care that they took for their wives and their children, their brethren and kinsfolk, was in the least account with them, but the greatest and principal fear for the holy temple.
Yeah, they feared that the temple would be destroyed. Go ahead.
Also, they that were in the city took not the least care, being troubled for the conflict abroad.
Mhm.
Verse 20. And now, when all when as all looked what should be the trial, and the enemy were already come near, and the army was set in array, and the beasts conveniently placed, and the horsemen set in the wings.
Right. So like I was describing earlier, the formation, right? The battle formation. Go ahead.
Maccabeus, seeing the coming of the multitude and the diverse preparations of armor and the fierceness of the beast, stretched out his hands toward heaven and called upon the Lord, that worketh wonders,
Mhm.
knowing that the victory cometh not by arms, but even as in seemeth good to him, he giveth it to such as are worthy.
Yeah, so pretty much Judas, when he saw the army coming, he started praying to the Most High, knowing that if they were going to win, it was going to come from the Lord, not based on what he's seeing. So he didn't go based off what he saw, but based off of his faith. And that's the thing. You can't be shaky and embarrassed to call upon the Lord if you have to, right? Because you think people are going to look at you like, what the hell is this guy doing? And it doesn't work. That's where the doubt seeps in. Well, what if this danger's coming and I take that leap of faith and I put my hands on, I call the Lord and nothing happens? I'm going to look crazy. Well, if you have faith, look, man, if Shalimar's walking and I need Shalimar's help and something's coming, I say, oh, Shalimar, I'm not going to be embarrassed to yell Shalimar's name because he's right there. And I know he's going to hear his name and turn around. So if you know the Most High is there, like Elijah wasn't shy to call down fire from heaven because he knew, though he couldn't see, he knew that the Most High was listening attentively and the Most High was dealing with him. So when you're in trouble, don't act like the Most High is brand new, as if he hasn't been dealing with you all this whole time. And if he's been dealing with you this whole time, then if you call upon him, is he not going to hear you now like he heard you in the past? When you were in trouble and you called on the Lord and he delivered you, didn't he hear you then? So why wouldn't he hear you now? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so why wouldn't the Lord hear you now? And that's the faith you got to have. Do what Judas Maccabees did. And even if it's just you by yourself, do what Judas Maccabees did. Be the leader of the camp as well as the least of the camp. Talk to yourself in the spirit. Remind yourself of what the Lord did for us. Remind yourself that the victory of the battle is from the Lord. Remind yourself of the gift of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Because a part of you may be feeling shaky, a part of you may be feeling weak. Then you got to have the spiritual man within you stand up and say, no, throw that weak shit aside. Put away those mortal thoughts. Weakness is not what delivered the men of old. It was faith. Which one are you looking at? We're looking for the Lord's arm is not short. Oh, that's Isaiah 59 and 1. 59. There we go. Mm-hmm.
Isaiah 59 and 1. Behold, Yahweh's hand is not shortened that it cannot save, neither his ear heavy that it cannot hear.
Go.
Okay, that's straight to the point. Hand's not short that he cannot save, neither is his ear heavy. The Lord's not up there with a droopy ear like he can't hear what you're saying. He hears clearly. At any point, them angels is right there to just, like with Yahweh shot when Saint was saying, at any point, them angels will, stop you from falling. Because what? The Lord's right there waiting. He's not I think I did a video recently. I think it was Psalms 18. I said, the Lord's not a faraway power to where it's like, he's not bound by like, the chariot's not going to take a sweet ass time to get. It's going to, we be sometimes promised and we see the chariot right there. Now, how long did it take to get it? It just pops up. Yeah. It's not something that takes, it's not like this dude driving here, it's going to take 20 minutes. No, it's going to pop up immediately.
Right. Like you need his help, but he's ETA is 20 minutes out. I'm still locked. Give me a little bit. Nah, the Most High's presence is everywhere. So the deliverance is right there. But sometimes the Most High purposely doesn't do anything yet to test you. You got to have that faith. That's how
yeah. This is Ecclesiasticus or the book of Sirach, chapter 2 and 5. For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. Believe in him, and he will help thee. Order thy way aright, and trust in him.
So who is that? That's Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Order thy way aright, and trust in him. Good. Yeah, that's it. All right, keep going.
Verse 22. Therefore, in his prayer, he said, after this manner, O Lord, thou didst send thine angel in the time of
Hezekiah. Referring to Hezekiah,
king of Judas,
Judea.
king of Judea, and didst slay in the host of Sennacherib,
Sennacherib.
and hundreds fourscore and 5,000.
Now, a score is 20. Four score is 4 times 20, which is 80. So 180 and 5,000, that's 185,000. Now, it's the spirit. I gave that example earlier, but I had forgotten about this precept. I didn't know that he was going to say this. He was going to add this in his prayers, but keep going. So what did Judas Maccabees do? Which is something that you can do as well, is to call whatever it is you're talking about into remembrance to the Lord. You gotta, when you pray to the Lord, you gotta remind the Lord of what he said. Lord, Yahweh Shai, you told us that whatever we pray for in your name, that you said if we seek, we're gonna find. If we ask, it shall be given. So I'm asking, Lord, remind the Lord, this is what you said. I'm doing what you said. So he's saying here, Lord, just like you sent the angel during that time to do that, we need you now, right? That's what he's gonna go say.
Shall mention that kept bothering the unrighteous.
Oh, yeah.
Kept nagging. It's like, yes, this world can weary me. So he went out and did justice.
That's right. Go on. 23.
Verse 23. Wherefore now also, O Lord of heaven, send a good angel before us for a fear and dread unto them. And through the might of thine arm, let those be stricken with terror that come against thy holy people to blasphemy. And he said unto us, then
He ended thus.
Oh,
so he ended his prayer.
Thus. Right.
Now, Salaki, hold on, let me see something here. Nope, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the point I wanted to go in there. Because you got something?
Oh, yeah, real quick. In Sirach, going into the account of Hezekiah.
Yep.
Sirach 48 and 18. And in his time, Sennacherib came up and sent Rabshakeh and lifted up his hand against Sion and boasted proudly. Then trembled their hearts and hands, and they were in pain as women in travail. But they called upon the Lord, which is merciful, and stretched out their hands toward him. And immediately the Holy One heard them out of heaven.
Immediately he heard them out of heaven, because this was a large army. Sennacherib's army, this was the Assyrians, and they were the superpower at the time. Okay, so when they came against us, that was a very trembling time for the nation of Israel, and the kingdom of Judah at the time. And when they called upon the Lord, he said, "What? Immediately he heard them, because his ears are not what is it, heavy, that he can't hear."
It says, and immediately the Holy One heard them out of heaven and delivered them by the ministry of Isaiah.
There you go. Because Isaiah, I believe, that was the time of Hezekiah. Isaiah was the prophet, one of the prophets that was on the scene during the time of Hezekiah. You know that?
Yeah, a little bit. He smote the host of the Assyrians, and his angel destroyed them. For Hezekiah had done the thing that pleased the Lord, and was strong in the ways of David his father, as Isaiah the prophet, who was great and faithful in his vision, had commanded him.
There you go. So Hezekiah obeyed the words of Isaiah the prophet, and also the Lord had mercy on Hezekiah and gave him an additional 15 years. So he added 15 more years onto Hezekiah's life. But it goes to show you that whenever you're in trouble, you pray to the Lord, and he's always there to deliver. He hears immediately, and then he acts upon it. So it's a powerful thing. Prayer is a very, very powerful thing. Prayer is really spiritual power. Think of prayer like this. Imagine when you watch a movie, an anime, a TV show, you play a video game, you have certain characters that have the ability to make things happen when they say certain things, right? It's like a certain spell or whatever. So like Shazam, he might say Shazam, and then that lightning boom, and then he changes, right? And you may have like what's his name? Harry Potter, right? Now Harry Potter needs wizards and shit, which is off, but they try to make it cool. But he'll use like Flipendo, or he'll like freaking Wingardium Leviosa type shit. Yeah, I played Harry Potter when I was younger, so I know. But he would say that, and then something would happen, right? So just like he was able to make things happen, you got to think of prayer like that. Now, of course, it's the Most High doing it, but you're requesting the Most High. You're requesting power from the Lord. You're requesting the Lord to make something that otherwise might not happen. And that's power. Not everybody can do that.
This is Sirach chapter 35, verse 16. He that serveth the Lord shall be accepted with favor, and his prayer shall reach unto the clouds. The prayer of the humble pierceth the clouds. Until it come nigh, he will not be comforted. He will not depart till the Most High shall behold to judge righteously.
And that's why it says that the Lord heard immediately, because the prayer of the righteous, Onias, Hezekiah, it pierced the clouds. So it gets to the Lord ASAP.
And execute judgment. For the Lord will not be slack, neither will the mighty be patient toward them, till he have smitten in sunder the loins of the unmerciful, and repaid vengeance to the heathen, till he have taken away the multitude of the proud, and broken the scepter of the unrighteous, till he have rendered to every man according to his deeds, and to the works of men according to their devices, till he have judged the cause of his people, and made them to rejoice in his mercy.
Yeah. Call for it. Psalms 27 and 11. Teach me thy way, O Yahweh, and lead me in a plain path because of mine enemies.
Right. Teach me thy way, which is the truth. And you've been, the scriptures say, happy are ye, Israel, for the ways that are pleasing to the Most High are made known unto you. You see? So teach me thy way, O Most High, and what?
O Yahweh, and lead me in a plain path because of mine enemies.
Because of mine enemies. There's more?
Yep. Deliver me not over unto the will of mine enemies, for false witnesses are risen up against me.
Deliver me not into the will of my enemies, right? The scriptures talk about the devil, the Psalms. Got it?
Deliver me not over unto the will of mine enemies, for false witnesses are risen up against me, and such as breathe out cruelty. I had fainted unless I had believed to see the goodness of Yahweh in the land of the living. Wait on Yahweh, be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thine heart. Wait, I say, on Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shah.
There you go. Wait on him and be of what? Good courage. For he shall, the Lord is faithful and will never, look, if you sincerely believe in the Lord, you're doing the right thing, the Lord is faithful and he's never going to let you down. He's not going to run out of power. He's not going to go deaf at some point. He's not going to lose the ability that he had. Malachi 3:6 tells you the Lord is the same. So he's going to always be able to deliver those that are of his elect that call upon him. What? You got something?
Just to add to your point, that to always hope in the Lord and always, get out of that mindset to fight.
You bring it down.
42:1. As the heart panted after the water brooks, so panted my soul after thee, O power. My soul thirsted for the Most High, for the living power. When shall I come and appear before the Most High? My tears have been my meat day and night, while they continually say unto me, where is thy God? Right, like people today sitting there saying, you guys are saying this is going to happen. When is the coming of your God going to happen?
Malachi, my enemy that said,
is that Micah 7?
Micah. You are Micah. Yep.
Verse 4. When I remember these things, I pour out my soul in me, for I had gone with the multitude. I went with them to the house of the Most High with the voice of joy and praise, with a multitude that kept holy day. Why art thou cast down, O my soul? So like you were saying, he was feeling down. He was getting, depressed. You get low in the spirit. So he's like, why am I feeling like this? Like, what the hell is going on?
We don't own the rights to the music playing in the background. Right. Apparently, we got to say that. They're probably not even going to honor it anyway, but at least we know we said it in the video. Right. So I'm going to sue their ass.
Verse 5 again. Why art thou cast down, O my soul? And why art thou disquieted in me? Right, describe me like you just always like antsy about it. It's like, yeah, damn, like Lord, where you at? What you doing? Like I need help right now. It's like scriptures always say. I believe that's a little later on. I think it's Psalm 46 says, "Be still and believe in the Most High. I shall be exalted in the earth."
Right.
I believe it's 46 and 10, maybe. I could be wrong. Hope thou in the Most High, for I shall yet praise Him for the help of His countenance. Verse 6. Oh my power, oh my power, my soul is cast down within me. Therefore will I remember thee from the land of Jordan and from the Hermonites, from the hill Mizar. I'm gonna just skip a little bit here. Yeah, but pretty much the point was verse 5 and verse 11 that really gets into it. I'm gonna read 11. It says, why art thou cast down, O my soul? Why art thou disquieted within me? Hope thou in the Most High. So, okay, this is a song to the chief musician, not sure for the sons of Korah. So I thought it was David. But whoever this individual was, he was basically saying that when he got depressed, he's like, saying, look, hope in the Most High. Like, don't stay in that depressed state because nothing good comes out of that. You're just going to give up. And it's like, well, what comes from giving up? At least if you keep going, you get stronger from that.
You know, sometimes that's happened to me where I'll be in a situation, I'm thinking, man, I'm not gonna get out of this. And then all of a sudden the thought just hits me like, boom, prayer. I'm like, wait, tell me, why the hell didn't I just pray right away? Exactly. And you know, you remember like, bro, you know there's no other way out of this than if the Lord delivers you, right? So why the hell you still stressed as if you could do something about it? Pray and leave it to the Lord. You know, and that feeling is such a relief because it's like, that's it, that's the solution. Just pray. Why the hell didn't you think about this before? But you know, it's a beautiful thing that you can get so comforted when you know that you can pray to the Lord, because it shows that you believe that prayer works. You know, Russ, got anything else? Precepts?
I'll just read the one the brother had quoted there. Psalms 46 and 10. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the heathen. I will be exalted in the earth.
Be still means be quiet, rest. So just chill out. Be easy. I believe that's 2 Timothy 1 and 7. For the Most High not giving us the spirit of fear, but power, love, and a sound minds to just chill out. Like sometimes you gotta relax. Like I understand we're coming into hard times, but like sometimes it's good to just like you gotta understand we don't control nothing. So the best thing you can do is like chill out to the best of your ability. Yeah, it's scary times are coming in, but really the best thing you can do is just chill out. It sounds simple. I mean, it's easier said than done, but it's like just chill out sometimes. Even I, like the brother, like quick test me Sunday, I had to like chill the fuck out sometimes. It's like, nigga, what the fuck you gonna do?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Right. Because at the end of the day, the Most High has set a certain time to do something. Until that time happens, ain't nothing you can do.
You can start bugging out, doing this and that, you over here and here, and then it's like the Lord look at you.
Bro, just chill out. That's it. Yeah. Anyway, so with that, Lord willing, I was edifying to the elect. We want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakak, Wadash. Shalom.
Shalom.